Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the LTA Report. We have our favorite guest, the 100 Thieves fan, going to be very, very sad next week, David, as well as obviously Marn. We brought in, the heavy guns because we're going to be talking about a heavy topic. You had a very good video, David, about just the state of content in North America as, one of the most front-facing North America, like LTA specifically, content creators. So I just wanted to open the floor to you to talk maybe a little bit about your video and why you think like the state of League of Legends isn't as bright as it's always been in North America.
I mean, I would say my video spawned from our general conversation. So, for background, for those that might need it, we talked about doing an episode on content in general. And I wanted to have some data points for us to base the conversation around rather than just doing the thing that a lot of us tend to do in the space, which is just like go based on assumptions. Like we see the numbers, but we can't really like summarize it or put it into like tangible feedback or like tangible reports that we can use for situations like this. And I have a history in this industry of just nerding out and going to get the numbers. It's kind of how I got my connections in the space early on. So I was like, okay, I put on a good playlist, went in, I had three monitors, one with YouTube open on one half of it, one with TikTok on the other half, Excel and Spotify, and just started going in and writing down numbers. And it took a few hours to finally go through and just like locking in like coding. Uh, but we finally got all the data. And yes, League of Legends team content is as bad as we've been making it out to be for the last few years at this point. I mean, this has been a trend that started back in 2018. Like, I remember when I initially pulled social media data, I pulled for all the teams across all platforms, all of the player Twitter followings, as well as the YouTube docuseries data at the time. And some of the lowest were Echo Fox and Optic back then. And they were getting on average about 10,000 views per series. And we were sitting there wondering at the time, like, what are you doing wrong? What is going so terribly bad for you that you can't even hit 50K? Like even the middle ground teams are getting 50K on their stuff. And now with that context, and I'm glad I did it at the time because it ages even worse for us now, we can't hit 10K on a docu series video for any team consistently if we're trying our hardest. So social media is failing in North America terribly. And we clearly do not have the answers, or at least we don't have the people in the orgs that are in positions to make the changes needed to bring in a modern content landscape.
It's only been like 7 years. If you think about it, like League of Legends as a or not the but the LCS as a product started in 2013. And our heyday went very, very quickly. Like we rose very high. By 2015, Madison Square Garden was like completely packed. You had people like Rick Fox wanting to get in. You had like all these celebrities. Like you had even Mark Cuban was interested in League of Legends. It hit like real mainstream. Even people like Mr. Beast was like I want to get into this as well. And now that we're in a situation where we can't even hit 10K, to say that we fumbled is like to not say that we fumbled or that this is just a natural way of things. I find that to be quite like cope or just like putting the blame on other stuff, because that's one thing I've heard. It's like, oh, it's just a video game. Like, of course it's not supposed to live that long. But what other video game had those types of highs where you were complaining about the fact that Optic and Echo Fox were barely hitting 10K? And the state that we're in, like, that really does show the how things have changed. But I think just to start with like the discussion of content, because like you did a pretty comprehensive study, and one thing I liked about your video is not only did you compile what they did, you added another person down there, which was yourself, and like the average views you were getting and the average times you were posting per day, and you kind of showed that you were doing better than some teams. So it's not that League of Legends content doesn't work anymore. some teams are just either not doing it or doing it very poorly. It can be done better by a singular person. Imagine having a whole team. And then at the same time, you actually gave advice of like, hey, to specific teams as well. You kind of gave different buckets because not every team is as popular as the other one. You're like, if you're Disguise, like do this. If you're Shopify, do this. If you're like Team Liquids and the Cloud Nines, do that. And I want to jump to you, Marn, because I mean, your team, Cloud9, has been pumping out content, and it was like one of the bright points in David's video. So I want to talk to you about like how do you feel about your content and where do you want it to go?
They aren't maximizing, like in David's video, like really highlighted. They aren't maximizing the short form at all. And the problem I've always had is they feel very like sponsory. Like if you actually look at the quality, I actually did this the other day. I looked at Optics channel. Okay, our shorts are actually higher quality, but they pump theirs out a lot, and it's not because of the success of Black Ops 6. I can tell you that like for free. Like we don't need these like 8K style videos. I like I was literally I said this to someone in the org the other day, like clip it and ship it. Their podcast is a free like landmine for fucking like YouTube short TikToks. And it's not even like it's a lot of work to clip up the podcast and the gameplay highlights. Do you know how much money and like video views they'd get if they literally just like, for example, when Blabber stole Baron in the TL game? Clip that. Clip that when Thanatos went like am in that last fight against Liquid. It's not hard work.
And
Like
I mean, I'll put a dollar value on it as well.
hmm.
Uh, Actually, I can look this up just so we have better numbers on it. Yesterday on TikTok, because you get your ad revenue the day after. Yesterday, I posted two videos. One on content creator privilege in the morning, the other on the Uzi Hall of Legends stuff. In total, it was about 26,000 views between the two of them. Now, granted, with TikTok, you are still getting ad revenue on videos from days past. So obviously, I'm making money on every bit of content that I put out prior to that, including videos that went mega viral, which you will have as you continue to post and learn. Uh, I made yesterday on that, on the 25K plus whatever residual prior to that, about $7. Okay. That's $7. And it took me in total time about, give or take, I don't know, 30
5 minutes?
minutes at
30?
most.
Really?
Yeah, 30 at most. And even then, actually, all the views for that Uzi video are not in. So that's not even an accurate that's not even an accurate number to what I'll actually get paid. It's only registering 1.5K of those views. I'm missing 20,000 views. So in reality, that's probably going to be closer to like $25. So 30,000 views, $25 after about 30 minutes of work, give or take. It's $14 an hour, basically, that I got paid for myself doing social media.
And you can do these in between game. Like you can literally, the second something happens in like game one, by game two that video is already out. And that's my biggest problem with them in terms of like the short form is they need to abandon this like the quality because they're not getting the views on them. Like they're not. They need to find like they need to look at Optic and see what's working there. Like it's the gameplay that really pulls people in. And like, if you really want to be that lazy, find the mic'd up sections in these LTA games and literally post that. Because then you have a voice comm and the gameplay.
I'll be honest, the
But
voice comm stuff, I don't think would do all that well, personally. Just because,
maybe
like,
not.
some people have uploaded their voice comms as shorts. I don't think people genuinely care about the players enough to watch a voice comm video where you're literally just watching somebody illustrate a story that's already being shown in front of them. What does really well with gameplay stuff, especially short form, is when you're telling a story on top of the gameplay that's already going. And the best example of that right now is actually Shopify. They're
Hmm.
doing that. They laced the Ludwig and Fudge interviews over top of the gameplay that was going on below it, rather than just like having the face cams of them. All of those hit for 5-figure viewership on shorts. which was way above their normal of what they were getting. And it's like, you do
And I
that
think like
consistently, that's fine. That works. That'll build.
mm. And I think like with the voice comms, I think people are burned out by the time they actually come out in the week as well. Because like I don't know about you guys, but for me, if C9 wins, for example, I will watch the series, then I will go back literally straight after, and once Dom has uploaded his like video of it, I will go and watch that, and then I'll probably watch like just the normal stream highlights again. So by the time the C9 like voice comms is out on like Wednesday, I've already watched this series about like 4 times, and I don't. That's what I believe why like the views are also so low. Like people will rather go and watch the co-stream, and then they don't need to go and see it again.
I think I actually talked to Shopify about like the voice comms and specifically like their docu series. They completely removed it from YouTube, and it only lives on Twitter now or X. And I asked him like, "Hey, the past few weeks you haven't been uploading to YouTube, like the voice comms." And like, well, we realized that when we have a purpose behind the voice comms, it's not just like, "Hey, what like voice comms week 3," that those don't do very well. But when you have like a very cool clip of it, you can take it and be like, what exactly did Palafox say here? Question mark, and then post that as a short, and then people were more likely to watch that than just an 8, 10, 12 minute video of like voice comms. By the time you get approval and all, like by the time it comes out, you can't really post it the day after. It has to wait at least 3, 4 days by the time you actually get access to those voice comms. So it's like it's just not worth it. And the same thing with the docu series. They're like, we don't think like it's just not working for us on YouTube, so we're keeping it where it does work. And right now it works on Twitter. So we'll do other sort of content on YouTube. We're still trying to figure that out. Instead of just like kind of spinning our, running around in circles and getting nowhere. Which, I like the fact that they're actively like thinking, hey, this is working. Let's keep doing this on shorts. This isn't working. Let's not do it. Another example I actually mentioned was I Will Dominate. Like he just brings gameplay and like he'll have random discussions during the gameplay. Sometimes has nothing to do with the game. It's just the same team, and he'll just post it. And like I will watch that stuff all the time. If it was just a video of him talking, I probably wouldn't watch. But the fact that there's some gameplay um makes it very like those do numbers. Not always, but you're not that's another thing that I wanted to ask you about is you were talking about like how many views you got, for example. With like short form, and even long form nowadays, it seems to me a lot of orgs are getting discouraged when not every single one of them is consistently at a certain number, which is YouTube back in 2018. YouTube, like past 2021, kind of changed how their algorithm works. So it doesn't matter if you have like a baseline. If you have 10,000 subscribers, your average views aren't going to be a percentage of those subscribers. It's very different from how it works back in the day. And so sometimes you'll post a video and it'll get 1,000 views, and sometimes it'll get, two like 20 views. And I feel like that's very discouraging to orgs, and it kind of affects the ability of them being consistent. So I wanted to ask you specifically because I'm sure you have days where you're not getting much views on your TikToks, and then days where you're getting like 500,000 views. Is there like,
Yeah.
what would you say of like every video needs to be quality, needs to be a banger, like a 500,000 view or bust kind of mentality?
No, so there's a lot that goes into that. The first portion of it, which is really important for orgs at least to understand, is that your subscriber count is irrelevant. It matters for certain benchmarks when it comes to monetization. If you're shooting for like that silver play button on YouTube, then yeah, 100,000 is like great. But do you guys know what number when you like log into Spotify, what number are you looking at when you go onto an artist page? So their followers?
No, the views.
It's their monthly active
Yeah.
listeners. That's the number that matters. The amount of people that are tuning in to your music each and every month, regardless of whether they follow you, subscribe to you, whatever the hell it might be. These are the people that are tangibly doing the thing that you want them to do, which is to play your song. On YouTube, it's very much the same thing. And TikTok as well. There are so many accounts on TikTok right now that have 400,000 followers. They got them during the COVID bumps. They got popular for certain like niche things that they did. And then they realized that it's not replicable. So then after that, they fell off entirely, and their monthly active views are like maybe 10K, 20K, because they can get like 1,000 views on a video, and that's it. So your 400K subscriber number, I mean, this is the case with like TSM and the legacy orgs for a long period of time, is like you have this massive sub number. You're not converting any of them at all because it doesn't matter. What matters is, do people want to tune in to your content? Are there storylines that matter? To your point on the numbers per month, I have my lowest month on TikTok last month in April. I think I made like 350, 400, something like that. I tweeted out the number. I forget what it was. But it's the lowest that I had in like 6 months. And I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong here? Because like you can't look at that and say like, okay, I'm just gonna let this continue to happen and let the trend go and all is fine. The reality is esports was in a lull. General league content was kind of in a lull where we had this period where not many people were watching or talking about it. And that actually is very standard for league and our cycle. So I went back and I tracked the numbers for the last 2 years, starting from 2023 to now, ever since I could monetize, to see, is that number growing, but is that number also lower in that month? And the answer was yes. That number was historically low in that month every year. But I'm still growing from where that month was in 2023, 2024, and 2025. So it's not that big of a concern. And you shouldn't panic then because the number's low. But you need to understand that it will rebound here soon. And you need to be ready to capitalize on the months where you are going to be busy and where content's going to click. And that is with the international tournaments, talking about the news that comes out, because around this time, you start getting some rumors for next year and what things might look like as well. And you have to adjust. I mean, on top of that as well, like I've cut out doing isolated North American League esports videos entirely from my channel, unless there's a big enough like storyline draw that I can have. Like C9 Blabber at the time, whenever you guys got blasted. That was a big enough story that I could talk about it with their 2-0 loss to FlyQuest. Like that made sense that it would have enough draw. Nothing else in NA does. So I have to lump it in with the LCK or the LEC or general league content to make it work, because that's how social media is. You find the most popular thing, you find a way to attach yourself onto it, and hope that it eventually ushers you into that same bubble. That's what you have to do. It's how it's always worked.
So I've actually brought that point up because you told me about this before when I was complaining about my views and how like I go to MSI and like I made $1,000 on YouTube, and then the next month I made 100, and I was like, okay, like what's going on? And then same things at World, like I hit like almost 500,000 views on my channel just during Worlds, and then for the next few months I haven't, like, nothing, peanuts compared to. And you were telling me how like if you're just chasing those highs, you need to figure out like different ways of filling in those voids. And you actually showed me your planner, and I think at that time you had a conversation with Joe Marsh on there. Like you had it pinned in, and like I
Yep.
saw it on your planner, and then I didn't say anything. I don't want to spoil. And then you're like, "Oh, I did that on purpose." But anyways, one thing that you had mentioned is like you need to kind of bring these storylines together. And I was talking to a couple teams about that, and basically what they said is like that feels very cheap. Like if I'm Shopify, for example, I'm just not that I talked to Shopify about this, but just like
Yeah.
as their representative on this show. If I'm Shopify and we don't make it to Worlds, and all of a sudden we're talking about T1 storyline, we're talking about DRX, Miracle Run or whatever it is that happens if TES decides to drop the ball again or AL is doing great. We're just attaching ourselves to teams and to gameplay that has nothing to do with our players. So what's the point?
Yeah. Well, look, for orgs, I mean, they're in a trickier position than we are, because we as independent content creators can talk about that, right? And org content, if you're like a Dom that is affiliated with C9 now, like he's not officially with C9, right? Like he's just
He
like
is.
consulting with them.
I mean,
And he
he's a
gets paid
isn't.
for that. He's worked with C9, yeah.
Yes, but there's a difference between a
Yeah,
consultant
yeah.
with C9 and somebody that's in the org. Like I know they're still together, and I
I
know
think he
that's like
can't be on
one.
the org because he owns an EMEA team. So he's probably just the consultant.
Possibly, I don't know I'm just making sure like it is very well known that it like
He's
Dom
as
is
in as
not
you
part
can
of
be without
C9.
officially being on.
Yes,
Yeah.
but like Dom is able to talk about everything despite like being in the org, and realistically, Cloud9 could use his content because he's naturally baked in like that. For the orgs who don't have content creators that are able to talk about other regions like that, yeah, it will feel more like leeching onto them because you're not adding anything of value to yourself. Or if you're trying to add your own conversation in there, it's like, okay, how are you adding yourself in? If you're going to talk about T1 from the perspective of an org, you need to usher yourself into that conversation. You need to shoehorn yourself into that in some way. If you can't do it, then yeah, it's cheap and don't. Period. But like if you want to do a video like talking about why T1's top side or why Hama Life, for example, why their top side is so good and why Zeus is great, and compare some of those metrics, but then bring up Fudge's stats in relation to the LTA, you can have the argument about whether the competition is the same. But then you could draw comparisons. That's how you use the two and you blend them. But if you're just sitting here being like, okay, we're Shopify, we're going to put out a video on T1 Zeus and we're never going to mention Fudge once in that video, that's a problem. Yeah.
The other problem that I think even you've mentioned before is like players aren't willing to actually do content, or it's not part of their contract, so they're like more focused on doing other stuff, or they say, yeah, we should do this, we should stream. I had an interview like almost 2 months ago now with Sniper, and he was like, yeah, more pro players need to stream, and I was like, does that include Sniper? And he was like, yeah, it includes me. I've been a little lazy, but I'll do it. And then like I think he's streamed once since then. And
Yeah.
it's like the idea of like everybody recognizes that you should be doing something, but they're not doing it. Unless you're like Cloud9 or FlyQuest and you're forcing your players to do it.
Shout out to Cloud9 though. I don't whether it's forced or not, it was cool seeing Sven streaming right after their series. That was
Mhm.
great. I loved it. Apparently every player I think went live at some point that night for C9.
So, like, I have no inside info, but it definitely reads that way that this year they're more like hands on. Right, you've got to do more
But
because
I do
like
you think the
because
org's
there is
doing
a
enough to utilize that?
I think the one thing
mm,
Cloud9 could be doing more, I think they're doing a lot, but I think if they just had an editor who takes their streams, because their players are constantly streaming. I don't think there's a single week where at least two players haven't streamed. To take those streams and like have their own like a channel and actually make highlights of their plays. I think that's like the one thing that's missing. I think Bippo does that. He has like his own editor who like takes his streams and makes videos out of them. I don't even think you need to have like a whole like this is how you win on Garen versus Fiora. Like just stream highlights of like
I
what
would
Double If used to
even
do or something.
I'd even go a step easier and let you just clip up the Meteor's co-stream and put it on their channel because he posts the VODs, but it's literally just the VOD and they have like 5 views because no one even knows Meteos has a fucking channel, like a VODs channel.
I don't
Like you have a
That's what
co-streamer.
I was assuming they put him on his I thought he had him on his own channel. So he doesn't?
He
So
does. He just has
there's
a
this.
second channel, I think.
I don't even know if that's
No,
his
but like
channel.
an
But it literally
edited
just says
down like
Meteos VODs.
He doesn't have
But
like
the
a
that.
actual
30
Meteos
minute the way
channel,
Dom and LS do it. Like we know whenever we go to we're at an international event and you wake up in the morning, guess what's going to be in your inbox? LS, Dom, Cadril, all their VODs, all their thumbnails immediately for you to
but
watch
his
afterwards.
is literally just the full
It's like
stream.
a
Like
three
this is like,
hour, 4 hour stream.
and if
Yeah.
you actually go check his channel, he hasn't uploaded in years. Like his main channel, he's done 5 videos.
So put it on the fucking Cloud9 channel. What are we
I
doing?
know.
That's free views. That's
That's
so
fine.
easy.
And like
And
the
people
only
want
thing
to
I
see
can make like to contention is like because it has sneaky and double lift on there. Literally give them a little sign to say, hey, we want meteors on our main channel at the VOD. Are you okay with this? Like,
Yeah. Like I like that's the bare minimum.
mhm.
Like there's a trend going around TikTok right now that I fucking love, which is girls like sharing with their other girlfriends these amazing things that guys are doing, and the girlfriend comes back at her and is like bare minimum. It's like, he showed me love and affection, bare minimum. It's like, that's what's going on right here. It's like, that's the bare fucking minimum of what you should be doing, because content creator content is and always has been the way you got to do things. Like the Skies and Shopify, their best viewed videos are when Toast, Lud, or Charlie are streaming and you put the VOD content up there. Surprise! That works incredibly well because everybody wants to rewatch the series that they already watched on their own with their favorite person that's affiliated with the org but not directly playing, since they don't like the players as much. So give that to them. It's
I would
right there.
understand if like if we didn't have a co-streamer, so then you could say like, okay, like it is what it is. But we actually, what is the point in having one? Like, what is the point in having one? Because we're not doing outside of, yes, he does the podcast and all that. That stuff's good, but you're not doing a lot of extra work. You're not requiring him to do like extra dates. He's doing this already for just the love of it, right? Because like he does get paid by the. I assume he gets paid by the org to be the co-streamer. We don't see a whiff of that on the main channel.
I'll say the other thing that really annoys me that I didn't mention. I don't know if I mentioned it in mine or not. Do you know the 1-7 rule of social media?
No.
Doesn't sound.
For every one sponsored post that you have, you need to have 7 that are not. And that's not just like, hey, I'm going to have one tweet that's sponsored and then, 7 other across different platforms. It's per platform. Unless you're doing content which naturally bakes it in. So podcast, understandable if you have a sponsor for all of it. But like when your views are low and you're working your way up, people need to believe that your content is organic and you're not just doing it because you get money. 100 Thieves was the biggest culprit of that for the last few years, where it was like, if we didn't have Subway as a sponsor, you weren't getting any content, period.
Or the Rocket
And it's like,
Mortgage House.
it's a really flawed way of thinking about content, especially from an org side, because you need to put content out there in the first place that builds people's trust that they know what they're getting. And then they'll welcome a sponsor on top of it because they see that as support for things that you're already doing. But whenever people tune into a channel and every other fucking post is an ad, is something sponsored, it's like, Jesus Christ, we get it already. Like, we get it. You're trying to get money out of me. You're fucking broke. I know. I get it. Like, just let me enjoy my content. I'm already getting slammed with ads on Twitch unless I'm subbed to you. YouTube, unless I buy YouTube Premium, I'm already getting hit with ads. I don't need to be watching the video then and be getting slammed with even more ads on top of that. There has to be a balance. Immortals being the most egregious
Oh
example.
my
God bless
god,
them being
dude.
gone.
That was just
Sorry,
ridiculous.
Charlie.
Some of their tweets were just like literally every video was like a 1 minute and like 5 second progressive ad that was like progressively worse every single week. And I was like, oh
I'm just curious to know why it feels like we don't get it with content. Like, I get that it's hard. I do. Like, not everybody's going to be successful. But why don't we have one that is? Like, one team that understands the general league landscape, which is like, you got to talk about the general game. That's not just like an ad or like these like, I don't know, inauthentic reactions to things. It's like, I know people were pushing that the Zaya skin that is part of like the global revenue pool that like they could get a part of, but it's like all of those felt so forced. So forced.
Like when we're having blabbers in our freaking shorts trying to advertise something, it's like, what are we doing? Like this guy hardly speaks as is. So like as soon as I see like a blabber short, I'm skipping it because I know it's an ad,
Yeah.
and because I'm bored of hearing about pagoda snacks
my
like
god.
every other YouTube short. And like your video like highlights for every org, there is one part of the like situation that they're not trying in. So like one's not trying in the YouTube long form, one's not posting any TikToks, one's not even posting YouTube shorts. Like every one of them you can say you're not trying.
It shocked me when I put out the response to Papa Smithy's tweet about like the complications of players and their schedules and everything else. And Basil was in the replies basically saying like, would you guys like this type of like content underneath it, which is like even like behind the scenes, just like random shit. It's like, one, yes. Two, I'll say the part that you can't. Why the fuck is FlyQuest not utilizing you more often for shorts and shit like that? Like you are the quintessential person that I want to see FlyQuest embrace and make the fan of it. I know she does interviews and like FlyQuest is very active on Twitter. I think Twitter's a dead fucking platform in general. Like I don't think you can plan on growing there. You need to go elsewhere and then that will bleed into Twitter and everywhere
Do they
else.
even post them on TikTok or anything?
No. No, they didn't post any of those videos on TikTok. But I'm just sitting here like
Sure.
she is the perfect face of this. Like she should be like I know she probably doesn't want to be co-streaming. She wants to be like there in person. That's fine. But then there should be like vlogs with her from the day that are out by Monday. Like the day after the series is done, you should be able to watch that. In addition to, I know LS is recovering from health stuff right now, so I understand why his like VODs of things aren't available. But that's where you bring in say a separate FlyQuest content creator to then co-stream and you work that creator up and you develop them up and then you have them interact with Basil and she's able to be the in-person element, the other person is able to be the co-stream, and then you blend the two as time goes on and then you allow them to possibly do like a podcast together if the players can't do it or like the two of them do that and then
Each week, bring one player on. Oh my god.
On
imagine
the
because then you have
FlyQuest thing,
that's 3 videos a week. Okay. You have Basil's behind the scenes vlogs and like interviews with players in person. You have the direct gameplay of the co-streamer of whoever that is for FlyQuest that can then upload that to the channel. And then you have a podcast together, which also brings in a pro halfway through, which lets you preview the matchup for the week to come. On top of that, all of that can be cut up into clips that will be at least 14 clips worth for the week. That's it.
why aren't they building up Gatkos with their content? Like while he's not an active player yet. Like why aren't we getting to know him and like people when they actually see him debut like, I know you.
I
Because
I
I
don't
can
know.
guarantee the average fan will see him debut next split and they're like, who?
They'll
Who?
be like, oh, that guy. Yeah, I remember seeing a tweet about that, I think.
Mm.
I
And they're
will
like,
say,
oh,
going back
where's
to
Booker?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Going back to what you were saying, David, about like having that schedule. I think one thing um I've heard not just from like league creators, but in League of Legends, in North America, but in even other regions, is the idea of like permission and the idea of like freedom, where it's like, okay, the game just finished. I want to post like what Marn was saying about the Thanatos like 1v3 or 1v2 on Rumble, like that was actually insane. And the fact that that's not on the channel immediately is because someone has to review that and someone has to make sure that you got the right clip or you have the music that you put on there or that the quality was good enough. And like maybe gameplay highlights are like easier ones, but other stuff like behind the scenes, someone has to go and sift through some, manager or whatever has to sift through and make sure it's, brand appropriate and all that stuff. And like if you're not a creator, you don't understand the need for like constantly being there on schedule, like on time. Because when you're late, you actually miss a huge amount of the attention. And I think FlyQuest might be one of the biggest culprits of this. They came out, they took Gen G to 5 games, and 2 months later came out with a freaking video, be like, "This is how we took Gen G." I was like, dude, I'm not watching that. What the hell? It's December.
Bro, the Optic Champs vlog from when they've won champs was out the same week. The same goddamn week they won, the docu-series was out. Like, what? Like, that's the standard right there. And we move so quick as an industry. We're on to the next thing. You have to be willing to post. If there's red tape in your social teams, somebody needs to get a fucking grip and understand what actually needs to happen here. When there's breaking news that happens in the league space, you should be on top of that shit. I've had moments where I'm in the office in Midtown, and you can see when I do it that I step out 20 minutes prior to a meeting. I have 20 minutes of time to work with to go over a patch note, something that has come out that is a massive moment for League. Whenever season 2 got announced in this exact situation. I quickly came up with a list of things I wanted to briefly mention. The video doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to get something out, and you can flush it out later with a follow-up video. But I went out to the street, recorded it, edited it, had it out in 15 minutes, went to a meeting, came back, 20,000 views on the video. All because you can just get that shit done like that. And you have to have that mentality. If you want things to work in social media, you have to have that mentality. If you have corporate red tape blocking things, whether it's on Shopify, whether it's on any org, FlyQuest, whatever it might be, I don't care. You are going to fail. Period. You will not make it on social media if you have these red tapes that hold you up, and it's not content that's conducive to being able to, spread itself out over time.
I think Monday was the quickest turnaround we've had in our podcast this entire split. It was literally within 24 hours of beating TL. The podcast was up.
That was
And
good.
I don't do short form.
Yeah, do
That's
short
my
form.
thing. Short form, you need it. I know I'm obnoxious with it. I'll say that right from the jump. If I don't have a clip out the moment my name gets mentioned on Hotline League within 2 hours of that happening, I've either fallen asleep or something's gone terribly wrong and you should call the cops.
I don't need them to do every single day, but I need to when you're playing. Fans need to see the stuff that they may miss, like the Phantos plays I was talking about. There is no reason.
I think it does
Unless
need to be every day.
Riot,
You think
really?
what?
I think content needs to be every day. Period. There's at least
Short form,
form
yes.
content.
Yeah, short form, I agree with that.
There's zero excuse to not have a daily TikTok and daily short out. Beyond, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just making it very clear. I know you're trying to be nice. I'm not. You need to have a short form piece of content out every single day.
And you can even clip up and space them out. The the podcast. You don't need to release them every single all of them at once.
So I will talk about this. They're not a North American team, but for some reason, there's this idea of I don't even know what it is, but it's this idea of we have to focus on a singular platform. And whether that's okay, we're going to do YouTube Shorts, which means we're not going to touch TikTok, we're not going to touch Instagram, we're not going to touch anything else, or we're going to do this platform and we're not going to touch anything else. And it's the idea of if we do open up the door to another platform, that's 7 times additional work, because you can just repost these things. But I don't know what the hesitancy is. And I tried talking to this one org and I just couldn't get through to them. At this time, there was also worries about TikTok. It was should we really be on TikTok if TikTok's gonna get banned? I was do you want an extra 30,000 views this month? If TikTok's getting banned? And I was
on Cloud9's Facebook than they do on their Instagram and not Instagram, sorry, their YouTube or TikTok. It's hilarious. Wait, why would I be looking at Facebook?
Facebook is pretty big in the SEA.
Look, if you got a big Facebook following, all power to you. But that has to convert to something. The reality of social media is your following only matters if you can do something with it. Otherwise, what does it actually mean? Nothing. For these orgs, if you're developing a following, you need to be able to turn that out to events, sales, or viewer or sponsorship revenue in some capacity. which we've already established with the industry as a whole, sponsorship revenue alone is not enough to sustain all this. So realistically, the goal should be you have enough fans to turn them out to do what Koi or K Corp did at an event. And none of these, I can promise you, none of these orgs could do what K Corp did. I'm not even going with Koi. They did 10,000. No shot at all. 3, I think, is pushing it for a single org.
So here's my question to you, and Martin and I actually talked about this a little bit throughout our podcast. But like, what it seems like the solution is like get a content creator, have him like lead the content, so you're posting like videos 3-4 times a week in addition to shorts. You've had discussions with people like Gen G CEO Arnold and T1 CEO Joe Marsh. What is the hesitancy? I think maybe did you talk to Nate Shot about this, or maybe Nate Shot? No, Nate Shot was on a podcast talking about
Yeah,
this.
Nate Shot was on a podcast.
And you reacted to it. What is like the main hesitancy of like signing a content creator that then becomes the face of your league content?
Well, I mean, the risk is Team Liquid. Like that's your risk right there. Somebody says something dumb.
I mean, that
really
was a player,
dumb.
not even a content creator. So
Exactly. But like all it takes is one thing to cost your brand millions. Like that's your risk, if we're being honest. Like that's the hesitancy behind it. But the truth is, you cannot grow on social media without taking some risk there with individuals specifically. Like the reason why Barstool has stuck around as long as they have is because Dave Portnoy is a talent genius. Like he is able to spot who is going to be good on camera and who can grow alongside the brand to the point where they eventually outgrow Barstool and do their own thing. Like there's so many examples at this point of Barstool alumni that go on to do fantastic things across all different kinds of spaces. And that's what these orgs have to be. You need it to be where you are able to grow a creator alongside of you to the point where your org can either go with them or they outgrow you. And if they outgrow you, fine. You accept that, you swallow the pill, you find the next. And you bring in the next class and you keep going. You have to. That's how media works. The personalities will shift time and time again. 100 Thieves, I love JHB with all my heart. I do. He doesn't want to be on camera anymore. And he was kind of being set up as that guy to be like the next person that's on camera and like upcoming and growing within the org. And the second it didn't work out with him and he wants to be more behind the scenes, fine, you got to bring in somebody else to do it. You got to continue to pump out talent over and over again because you're basically a talent agency for both players and creators.
So for 100 Thieves,
Because like,
oh,
sorry,
go ahead, sorry.
I was going to ask because I assume you believe 100 Thieves is going to be in the league next year. Like, correct?
Until I'm told otherwise.
Do you think next year they would sign a creator if you had to put money on it?
I would hope.
Mm.
I would really hope, and I'll be selfish and say I hope that's me. It probably won't be. I'm not big enough, being honest. Like I'm not. My numbers do not compare. Like if you put thinking through it, if you were to put me next to every 100 Thieves creator that they have, I'm a fucking pebble in a massive, massive ocean. Like we're talking superstars here. I'm just some nerd who talks about League, and I don't think there are any other creators in the League space right now that are big enough to bring in.
I was just about to ask
Like,
you, if you're 100 Thieves, who do you sign?
I don't know. And that's my problem is like I want to sit here and advise that they should. But I don't know who to recommend without being incredibly egotistical about it and trying to push myself. Because I truly do believe that I can make it work. I believe I have everything that they could want. We could start up a golf channel. You already do golf content. I'm really good at golf on camera. I promise you I am. I just need time because that's the one thing I lack to be able to do the Adobe After Effects of shot tracing individual shots. I can talk to anybody. I'm growing a New York City account, which is just like general life conversations because unlike a lot of gamers, I go out and socialize and can talk about pop culture and bring in these topics that go well beyond gaming and relate them to gaming in some way, shape, or form. I'm not afraid to go outside and do content around the city. Like, I can't think of anybody else in the league space that's more of a perfect blend for that.
Mhm.
So I don't have a better recommendation. I wish I did because I don't want to answer myself. But they should. If we're in the league next year, there's zero excuse for us not to have a creator at all.
I have a recommendation. I don't know that he'll do it, but Yamato Cannon, I think would
I don't
be
think
a
it's authentic. I don't. I
He
think
doesn't have
he's
the
too.
association to NA.
No, he did. Like, my thing is, if you're gonna bring in a creator, it it has to be somebody that you believe can buy into the culture. Like
I
Shopify and Charlie and Ludwig are perfect because there's equity involved, right? And that makes sense. But if you're talking a step down from that and there's no equity involved, you have to be passionate. The reason why Hitch is such a good or was such a good addition to Optic is because he was a diehard fan that wanted to be a part of the org and worked his way into it. You bring in somebody like Yamato into 100 Thieves, like, wow, great. It gives them somebody to talk about and put out content with. Do I believe that Yamato's going to stay with 100 Thieves forever? Fuck no.
Oh, in that
No, I
case,
don't.
no. The reason I was mentioning Yamato is because he's always, even like going back to 2018 Vitality, he's always like had this mentality of like, screw playing the meta, play your own style, and that's like the essence of 100 Thieves. Like, we're not good at rotations, we're not good at anything, but we will fight everything, and that was like Yamato's speech of 2018, telling Cloud9 to like just pour your heart and soul and just fight, and they did, and they beat Genji and made it out. It just I guess maybe I'm like old school and I still remember like those Vitality days, but I feel like Yamato is the type of person that would really appreciate talking about how like 100 Thieves will consistently fight as like a play style of your team, which is why I recommend him.
Sure, I agree with that specific portion of it. But the reality is, when you're bringing in a creator, it is so much more than that. And
Fair
I
enough,
don't think
yeah.
Yamato blends with everything else going on in the org where you want to have somebody that commits. Like, the reality for 100 Thieves is you are trying to fill the hole that Nate Shot and Yasuo left.
Those are really big holes.
They're really big holes, and you need somebody that can step into those shoes and is willing to take the weight of responsibility that comes with that. Because these people that are yearning for this and that will usher in a new generation of fans want somebody that is going to be consistent with them and not leave after a year and not chase the money. Like, they're there because like they feel the passion. Like, that's what makes sports fandom. Who's the dude that's the Toronto Maple Leafs guy on you? Steve Dangle. That's what makes it so great. Is like, I know, like, his fandom's not gonna get bought out in a year. I know every year when something happens with the Toronto Maple Leafs, I can tune into his video, no matter what. It's like, now, same thing for like basketball. Now, I know when I'm watching a Knicks game, Timothy Chalamet's gonna be on the sidelines. Like, you need somebody that's that loyal and dedicated to your brand, which is hard in an industry where orgs have historically fucked people over for so little things. And that's why you just need delusional levels of fandom with it. Which is hard to get.
Well, I've been enjoying Dom's videos so much. His C9 videos are actually his most viewed, and he watches all LPO and LCK, which is fucking wild to me.
90% of the Dom
Because
videos I watch are either C9 or Shopify if he
it's
chooses to
because
review our
I
games.
think it's because he's getting his normal fans and he's migrating a lot of C9 fans now to his content because they want to hear what he has to say because like you never really hear from Vega and Reaper's not really in like he used like prior to his 2020 departure he was the face for like C9 in the terms of like the coaching. You don't really hear from him that much now. He's kind of in the background and you hear like Dom is more the face of like their coaching,
It's really cool
which
being able to get so much behind the scenes of like, oh, like just talking about the scrims and like the problems they had the scrims and the talk that they had, and then like how the players
did you
played
hear the
differently against
Fly
C9.
Quest one?
Which one?
So they talked about in pros. So so this is like halfway through the thing. Quad had like a doctor's appointment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they had to sub in Miffy and Nuke Duck and C9 were already like playing a bad scrim, so they were like tilted as fuck. And then they lost to Miffy and Nuke Duck in the scrim, and they said they've never been like so ashamed in their life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love every bit about that.
I mean, Nuke Deck has always been like hitting Challenger every season. Even last, like when they went to like a
Yeah,
big
it's like
reason.
it'd be different if it was like Papa Smithy's like had to fucking sub in, then
Dude, if
he's
Papa
beating
Smithy
C9.
joins
But
and they be, oh my god, that would be like, at that point you just retire,
it'd
right?
be more like Steve has to sub in. Uh,
Dude, what
yeah.
if you stream scrims and then you just put in like Papa Smithy and Steve between Team Liquid and then it's not a scrim at that point, I guess. It's a show match.
That's
We
a
have to
show
get the
match,
main
I
teams
think.
to scrim first.
Yeah, get the main teams to scrim.
I mean, what I would love is I would love a stream scrim where the commentary over the scrim is just Papa and Steve shooting the shit. We're like what we're watching the gameplay. We understand that there's a casual element to this, that they're not like going extremely hard, but they are still practicing. And you can have the two of them talking about like everything else going on. With occasionally, it's like something hype happens, like they hype it up.
Yeah, and
But
Papa
like
Smithy is a professional. He's like a caster, so you know
exactly,
he can
like
really turn that switch.
I know I'm in the minority on that, but that's what I want to see.
I think that'd be really cool.
And that like one of FlyQuest's most viewed videos on their YouTube channel is the lone scrim that they got to do.
And they posted it the day after, so you know they're
Yes,
learning.
that's it.
They're
Like
learning.
it was perfect. It was everything you wanted. But then no other team will stream them. Jesus. Stream
I always
their
get that
scrim with
mixed
them.
up.
I call BS on
Yeah,
that
it's
every step of the way. By the way, I call BS of that because like, okay, when the discussion happened, when they were like trying to bully everybody, when Bippo was going on stage and being like, you know, we're telling every 7 other teams to come stream their scrims, and they're saying no, we're going to keep talking about it and then until they do. I immediately went to Shopify, did an interview with like a couple of their players, and like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we were down to do it. I think we were just like trying to figure it out. And I tweeted, like, I posted that on Twitter, and Papa Smithy responds. He was like, well, you know, the teams have different opinions. Some players were okay with it, and others weren't. Maybe that's what Pal Fox is talking about. So then I asked Revan, and Revan was like, dude, he was like so tilted, and he was like, we told them we're down to do it. We just need to schedule it so we can get Ludwig and Charlie to stream it. And they go out publicly and be like, oh, they don't want to scrim us. And I was like, what the hell? Oh, sure, we're not going to scrim you. And it's like, he was like, we were 100% down.
So here's my question then. And this is like kind of the crux of the problem when it comes to social media. Why are they just letting FlyQuest fucking say this shit on social media then? Speak out. Talk about it. Like the whole point of this shit, like do it publicly. You're letting FlyQuest now get the high ground behind the scenes and in public and bully you. And you're just sitting here being like, they have to wait until you come out and ask them.
This
Fucking
reminds
say
me,
something. You're not gonna get in trouble.
This reminds me when C9 went on pros and they straight up like, oh, Whippo cancelled pros because we beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then Whippo was like, no, I actually had a thing. Because I think you
Yeah,
did the
that was
tweet about
my fucking tweet that got buried in the fucking hate.
Yeah. We're seeing
That was a wild 24 hours.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, that guy's just ducked out because we beat him so hard.
Yeah, so I don't buy the idea that like they're asking every week, hey, can we scream scrims? And every team is like, no. I just think they probably stopped trying after one time.
The only thing is, we haven't seen it once though. We haven't even heard a whiff of any team trying to like do it.
I asked 3 weeks ago on Twitter, and somebody from FlyQuest responded and said, like, it was Andrew Barton came out and said, we stopped asking about a week ago or so because nobody will. Which again, if that's not true, then teams have an obligation to speak out and say something. But when Andrew is the only one communicating with us on Twitter, that's the only bit of information we have to go off of.
That's fair, yeah.
But that's like my crux of the argument. Did you guys watch G-Bay's video that he recently put out?
Not the whole thing. The one about like
No, I don't watch the guy anymore.
League dying because of
Twitter
Twitter.
Twitter dying is the root cause of esports also going away. Not the root cause, but like one of the main things.
I did very much disagree
I don't
with
agree
it.
with that at all.
No, I hated the video. I was like, bro, you want to know why why Twitter is not fun for esports anymore. And he's like referencing all these times back in like 2013 to 2016 where like players would tweet out like their video and like content creator, like there was always a tweet of like, hey, I got this video posted. Where the fuck are the videos in those tweets? No wonder
Exactly.
why Twitter died. They stopped posting shit. Nobody says anything. Everybody just bottles up and it's like, oh, we'll get them next week and we'll win. Or in FBI's case, never say a fucking word on social media ever. Period. Does the guy exist outside of game days? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He might be a myth. But like, how are we supposed to engage on social media other than arguing with other fans all the time whenever nobody else is using the goddamn platform? And it's not like that's an isolated Twitter thing. They're not uploading YouTube videos, they're not uploading TikTok videos, and they're not uploading YouTube shorts. Like,
I wonder if Yawn has reached 10 tweets yet.
He's getting there. Every few months he posts something. A few months, every year maybe. But you know,
Dude, how are we meant to brand this guy as like the next face of NA? And this guy has tweeted 10 times in his career.
bro, him and Masu both. Oh, the dude, if the two of them were actually vocal,
They don't get it.
no, they don't. Like none of the new gen players get it. Barring
I think
Busio.
Surdy,
Busio's very good.
I'd say Shaden. He like streams
Oh,
quite
I
often.
loved my conversation with Busio at first hand when we was talking about this. Like, I wish we could. Like, we actually were told to stop because he just wanted to continue for like ages.
I fucking love that man. He's my favorite. Maybe I'm biased because he's like the only pro that I know that's on TikTok and is like actively in comments. Like you can bet if anybody posts anything at an international event with FlyQuest on there, he's in the comments immediately. It's great. I love it. But he's the only one.
Actually, one thing that
Okay, move
I've
on
really
to
enjoyed
the.
with the
Hold on.
one thing I've enjoyed with like Busio, with who else? APA and Scary. I know Scary got benched, but it's, like their parents are more
Oh,
active than
by the
they
way,
are
the
on social media.
replacement's been announced.
Yeah, I saw
Wait, what?
your
It just got
yeah.
Yeah,
announced?
no, it got announced an hour ago. I posted it in our like chat. I'll let you discover. It's on Sheep Esports. I don't think you're gonna be happy.
SK8 Rahel? Wasn't he ass?
No, he was pretty good for the first split, and
And then what
then
happened?
I mean,
He was
SK
ass?
happened. SK happened. He was
Oh, so
like
you're telling me that the difference in what he's going to be playing in with SK versus Disguise is all that different?
well, they just need one good split, right? He had one good split on SK, got them to playoffs. Like that's all they can hope for, right?
Oh,
I not to start that conversation, but I think they're getting relegated.
I don't know. I don't think it's a little too early to tell. I don't even know who they're bringing in for
I
mid lane.
I'll be honest with you. That
Oh.
is my like favorite storyline that I'm watching for Split 3 right now. Is like, can Disguise
remember
prevent
someone-
themselves from impending doom? Like that to me is more
I know.
entertaining than what anything else.
I won't talk about like thing, but I know it was said in one of the chat too. Apparently, is if that's the option, I hope they get fucking relegated.
You think or you don't think?
Like, do I like know who it is?
So I think I
What, the
know
mid
who it
laner?
is. Like I'm
I think
95%
like
sure.
in one of the chats it was mentioned.
I
But-
heard Jensen is what I'm seeing in the fucking replies of
Oh.
on Twitter. I have not I've not been leaked any information. I'm just seeing Jensen's name thrown out there everywhere.
It was thrown out, but I don't think it's Jensen.
Okay.
If it's
Thank God.
Jensen, please can this guy like he's it's like when you live long enough to become the villain type thing. That is how I feel with Jensen. He was he is one of my favorite ever players, and I feel like his reputation is just being like ran through the mud. Like at least Bjerg went out on his high horse, like, but this guy's just sticking. It's like leave league before league leaves you. That's how I like feel with Jensen.
Don't worry, everybody pretty much left league before we left. That's the summary of everything in North
Shall we,
America right now, ain't it?
We'll go on to the next topic.
Sure. What was the last topic?
Where are we at with fandom?
Oh yeah.
because I get more and more depressed each week watching the LTA studio have what looks like a lot of people, and I just hear crickets. I want to go online.
I oh, oh you want to go online?
I want to. If they gave me the option tomorrow, you get free road shows a year, like for winter, spring, summer. Um, I would take, but the entire regular season is online. I'm taking that in a
Yeah,
heartbeat.
do that. Oh, 100. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you 100%. You give me 3 road shows per split? Fuck yeah. Screw
Yeah,
LA. Screw that studio. I don't give a shit. All online. Absolutely.
because the
Todd, you look like you're
fandom.
disagreeing. Yeah, like I can tell the look on your face. You seem
I
hesitant in that thought process.
will let Cloud have a room.
Okay. Here's the thing. I think if you let that happen, Riot will kill NA League. Like they're already not doing a great job. I think in like an isolated bubble world where it's like you can have 3 roadshows, but you can only have like everything is going to be online. Maybe you can start pushing more league teams to have like watch parties and collab with people like David, or like if they want to do something here in DC, like Team Liquid has a facility here and stuff like that. Sure, I just don't think that's actually going to happen. I think it's just going to be like, oh, guess what? We can spend less money on League this year, and we can just pump more Valorant stuff. Okay, and it's just going to be like a
But they do that
spiraling.
already. They
So
do that
so
already. The majority
they
of our split is in the closet.
they also can't do that because of the newly agreed upon team participation agreements. Don't forget that like luckily we're still in the position where a few of these teams have equity in the league. If Riot tries to kill it off, they sue the shit out of Riot and win.
Mhm.
100 like there's no unless truly Team Liquid, FlyQuest, C9, Shopify, who else am I missing? There's one other team that still has it. There's 5
Dig.
teams that are dig. Unless they all truly have the worst lawyers of all time. All right. Like Suits
Shopify has a
LA
lot.
versus like Suits New York lawyers. All right.
Don't even.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. Like if we're talking like that level, there's no way that they couldn't like just make this a spectacle. And which would arguably drive more attention than what is currently happening with the league, but that's a whole different point. But like you can't kill it off. To which I would say, this is my challenge to Riot. Do it. Pussy. Do it. Kill the league. Kill it. Okay? Because my bold prediction that I've been making with Paul privately, and I don't know if I said this publicly yet. I think esports is on the trajectory to die in the next 4 to 5 years. But we will rebuild from the ashes. I think it will eventually collapse all this everything that we have currently set up, at least within like the league structure, is going to collapse on itself. And we will rebuild from scratch. Hopefully with League. If it's with a different game, I don't know.
You think
But
in some ways the CDO actually has the right model at the moment, where
yeah,
they've shifted everything online, and then every major they have a LAN event.
yeah.
I think
Like I,
that's the route we need to take.
we North American esports is at the point where we have to band every esport together to try and make this thing work right now. It has to go back to the old days of IEM, DreamHacks, MLGs. Like you need as many games to pull as many people together as humanly possible since the online viewership ain't going to cut it anymore. There's not interest there. Now the international side of league may be fine, but when T1's losing 20x million a year, even with their successful road shows, what's gonna happen? Like, yeah, it's not sustainable. Like, it's not gonna work. And when Riot's out here telling us that, we ain't gonna it's not a marketing tool for them. So that argument just flew right out the window, which
That is
everybody was falling
BS.
back on for a long period of time. It ain't a marketing tool, folks. We have to be profitable. They're gonna burn it to the ground and build it back up.
It's not a marketing tool, but we have the Hall of Legends that made $10 million in one day.
Still not a marketing tool.
Fan first, by
The
the
studio
way.
does depress me a lot. The studio really depressed me. I went back the other day and I watched 2018 TSM versus TL. This is when TSM went like they got the best and the worst. Yeah, TL with double lift. That crowd for the same studio, by the way, it was loud. It was electric for a best of one. You had Cloud9 versus TL, which, by the way, I was listening to Hotline League. I never want to hear they say FlyQuest TL is a fucking El Clasico. You're watering down that name so much. But you have the oldest rivalry you have in NA now with CL and TL, Crickets.
Yeah.
I mean, the real like Classico has always been like CLG TSM, right? And then
No, it's
Cloud9 kind
Phase
of
versus Optic. Fuck you, first and
for
foremost.
League of Legends, my friend.
El Clasico is El Clasico. That title is
I would argue it's
well beyond.
C9 TSM.
I don't think you can give it
I
to
would-
C9. Dude, C9
No,
came in in
I-
Existed back in
2013 summer.
2009. What do you mean? Before League even came out.
No. What I'm saying is like just for League of Legends, if you are going to use El Clasico
Sure.
like you do with Fnatic G2, for example, I just don't think you can like Fnatic, not Fnatic, like FlyQuest Team Liquid. It's been less than a year. It's been like it's been a year where like it was 1 year, and now it's not even Team Liquid aren't even like a top team, right? They're not the top two anymore. So I think it's
It's
too
just
much.
like Elsa Clasico as well. It defines: are you Team A, are you Team B, and like the entire league is bounded by this one fixture. So like LEC, are you Team Orange with Fnatic or Team Black with G2?
Modern day K Corp
Like-
versus Koi. I'd say K Corp
like-
versus Koi is like the bigger is the pool now.
And that's the thing.
for me.
I don't even want to ever hear the term El Clasico. Like it just waters down. You can't have multiple El Clasicos. That's not how it works. I would equate like K Corp versus Koi more to like a derby in soccer. Like you have these two behemoths just going at each other.
A match of the week. But yeah,
hate match of the week.
but not like Fly versus Team Liquid is not El
No.
It
Clasico.
won't even exist next year because
Fly hasn't been competitive
I-
in like freaking it won't even exist next year.
I don't.
To your point on fans, I think it's the current generation. I hate to sound boomer about it, but like there's a
esports fans?
reason all fans. I think it's the current generation, period. They are scared to be cringe. They are. And anything that can be seen as cringe, they won't do. And it's reflected in every walk. I see it out in public all the time. Like it has changed culture, not just esports. And I think it blends into esports where we don't give a shit how embarrassing it is. We're screaming at the top of our lungs when we're in that stadium, when we're in that 300-person studio. Why? Because we want to let everybody in that goddamn camera know that we're a fan of this team. But a lot of people in the current generation, as seen by the one girl that was screaming in the crowd, oh, that's cringe. Why would I want to be cringe? Shut the fuck up and just do it. Like
Be a
that's your
fan.
answer. Like be a fan, but they're so scared of being cringe that they won't do it. And I think that's just, again, just a general culture thing that bleeds into esports and like the current level of fandom and the current type of fans that we get in esports are just so scared to do that.
Where do you stand on player fandom versus team fandom?
I'll get myself in trouble.
Mm.
I'll get the name and crew hate.
Okay. I was actually thinking this the other day. If C9 versus Koi happened, where is the NA fans going?
Oh, they're going with Koi.
Exactly.
I'm going with Koi. I'm going with Koi.
Exactly.
Just because I want is it bad that I want to see Cloud9 fans suffer? I mean, okay, well, I'm an exception to this rule, and I know that. Okay. It would bring me no more joy in life than for your guys' agony to just be piled on even higher by watching the dude who literally shit his way out of C9 come back and kick you in the ass. Like,
in soccer, we call it like banter era. Like, For example, my club right now is so far in the mud. We've gone literally the season's just ended. We've done this little mini preseason tour to Asia. We're facing Asian All Stars with half retired players, and we just lost the game. And our rivals are absolutely dogpiling.
As they should. As they should. That's holding people accountable.
Mhm.
How do you think the
I would
NACL
love
social media
nothing
stuff
more
got
if we
changed? You
face
have to hold
Koi.
people accountable.
If we face Koi and beat them, we drop the thank you Jojo video.
Yes. 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 Oh my god, yes.
And if I'm
That's
Joe, I'm
brilliant.
dropping thank you C9 video.
That's
Oh man.
brilliant.
Like
Yeah,
saying Jojo
absolutely.
Pin has departed the organization. We thank you for his time and best of luck in your future endeavors. And then we do the highlights video.
Of him dying consistently to you guys. Oh.
Yes, and it's not even like the good highlights. It's he's every time he got caught like highlights.
Better
I
start
love it.
talking to Portillo. No, he left, right?
He left. He's with Razor now.
Yeah. Better start talking to. Is Madeline the one that's the new Portillo?
Linku as well. Still big
Okay.
on.
Well, you know who you got to talk to. Just make it to MSI first. Well, Koi.
So
We'll see if Koi makes it. Probably, but who knows?
What do you think's the problem though, Cloud? What do you think's the difference in fandom?
I think we're way too player focused with like I actually think the fact that we don't have team fandom or very little team fandom is a very big problem. Like teams have done very little to make you a fan of the team. It's kind of like what you were saying when I mentioned Yamato and you were like he's not going to bleed 100 Thieves the same way that you will bleed for 100 Thieves or I will bleed for Shopify. And I think that's a very big problem. And I had people in chat like be like, why would I be a fan of the team when like the team means nothing? They're just a vessel for these 5 players. I think until we move away from that, until we have Shopify is the Ludwig team. I'm a Ludwig fan. I love the culture of Shopify. I love the events that they do in Toronto. I love the fact that we have watch parties. I love like, even the Discord server, whatever it is, whatever can like associate you, regardless of the fans, of the players that they have. Until each team has an identity, like if I'm in LA and it's a C9 or Team Liquid, like there really isn't that big of a difference. Whereas think about in 2015, like there was a really big, regardless of who was on TSM, whether we had Amazing, whether we had Santorin, like we constantly kept changing our roster. We had, obviously Bjergsen was Bjergsen, but like we constantly changed our roster and the beef still existed because we had Reginald, because he was the face of our team. He was the identity of TSM. We always hated CLG. Even when CLG was like almost relegated, we still took extra pleasure of beating that team. And until like that comes back, I don't know how you do that. I think that's one thing that's like kind of on us, the next generation of like content creators with like Cloud9 or 100 Thieves or Shopify to like make people fans of the team regardless of the players, regardless
I
of like your
I'm already
coach.
in
I'm gonna
Martin's head
say
on that
something.
one.
You're what?
I'm already in Martin's head on that one. I already know.
The
I got you
one thing I
talking
will
about me
say is
without me even saying a word.
rent free, man. The problem is those type of fans either left or got pushed out. I will always bark back to 2016. C9 fans were booing Samson in Chicago in that fear, and the amount of shitstorm that caused on Reddit was insane. And that was happening in 2016. Now, it is a lot more player driven. Whether that's right or like wrong, it's not for like me to decide, but a lot more people now, and it happens not even just in like esports, it happens now in like in traditional sports as well. Like player fandom is such a phenomenon that it's like
Look at Angel Reese
it's
versus
hard.
Caitlin Clark.
Dude, Angel Reese's not an actual basketball player. She's so freaking bad. It's not even like
No,
close
but
compared to
her
Clayton.
fans.
Her
Her
fans
fans
are
will sit here and
so
tell you.
annoying. My God.
That's more of a rivalry than TL FlyQuest.
I know.
Which is
And
so
then
sad.
look, here's my benchmark. We have not made it until we get Sentel. Okay? Until a fan base in esports can get Sentel in some capacity, and you'll know when you get Sentel. We're not there. We're not big enough. We're a long way away.
How would you even start to address that? Let's just say hypothetically one of our orgs. Like maybe let's go with C9 because they have the bigger fandom right now in like the LCS space, LTA even. How would you even start to get more fans back in the door? Because when we played Sentinels in Valorant, that place was buzzing for Sentinels. Like they were booing every time we got a kill, every time we run around. Like they were not happy when we were like winning. Where's that? And this is the same LA space. It's not even like the Valorant studio is elsewhere.
Do you want to go first, Cloud, or do you want me to go?
I mean, I feel like I talked about this, but it's just get signed content creators, start building that fandom, start building like the Cloud9, Valorant front facing content creator and have him work with the org to make it so that regardless of which players you have, you're getting content, you're getting this sort of vibe, this environment. Like figure out what it means to be Cloud9, what it means to be a rebel, like a Shopify rebel, what it means to be a thief, and make that like embed that into your content creator that you choose and go with it. And I think like if we don't do that, kind of like what you were saying, your prediction with Paul, like esports is not going in the right direction. Content creation is growing. Like what Speed is doing, like what all these content creators are doing, Ludwig, and like they're growing. They're chilling. It's just we're not.
Miss Chim was just at Streamer University. You guys don't know what that is, do you?
I do. I saw who else
Okay,
was there? Fuslie, I think was there.
I've seen
Yeah.
the viral things that's been going on, like all the fights and stuff.
She's trying to get Kai Cenat to play League of Legends. Like that. Brilliant. Brilliant. It's great. I still don't know why Team Liquid didn't sign her. That makes no sense to me. There's your co-streamer for TL.
I think
Right
they have
there.
Lorlo.
Already got co-streaming rights.
And like, could you imagine if in that video she was wearing a Team Liquid jersey?
I don't know if she would have went if she was sponsored by Team Liquid. That's the only catch. But who knows?
What do you think?
I agree with you entirely. I think it's on the creators. I think we are heading towards everything being online. Marn, I'm fully with you on that front. Like I think that's the path we're going. We can't sustain $50,000 a day in the studio, and playing in the closet is more depressing than playing online. I will not have anybody. I've seen so many people be like, "Oh, it's still better than if we were online." No, it's not. No, like I don't know what that. It feels worse. Like it feel like I either want to be in the studio with a filled studio or at home playing online. I don't want a half-ass. I don't want an empty stadium. I don't want a closet. Does nothing for me. So then on top of that, you gotta bring in creators. You gotta bring somebody that is the through line year over year. That when everything else changes around them, they're the one thing that keeps going. And I'm telling you right now, if you had me with 100 Thieves and you had a creator with Cloud9, I promise you I'll make their fucking life hell. All right? And that's a rivalry that you can build around. People can pick sides. It's blind loyalty, and that's it. And it extends beyond that. On top of that, the thing that I would want to do is I'd want it like that creator, whoever it's going to be for C9, whoever it's going to be for any other org, has to understand that you have a responsibility to grow in-person fandom, not in LA. I will die on that hill. You got to pick a spot. You got to mount in that spot and develop a pocket of fandom that can grow out. That can grow outside of that.
I will push you on that.
He's there with the fucking drum.
I will push you on that. I think no one has actually done a good job in LA. So I think one team could actually like become the LA team.
Agreed. Entirely agree. But only one.
No one else
The
is
other
doing
seven
it. So.
need the right. I agree, but you can't all keep trying in that one spot. And more importantly, when they're trying, like it's the same. Like, what have they done that's new? And don't just tell me they changed up what they did at their fan activation in the same spot with the same fans that go over and over again.
No, I mean,
what have teams done that has innovated over the last 7 years?
I think the only thing I can think of is the pop-up shop with Cloud9 and One Piece like jerseys. Like that's the only in LA. That's the only thing I can really think of.
You know what's scary? C9 for Valorant, whether that's on like, from my understanding, teams have to do it for Valorant. So like these watch parties. So like C9 does one of the universities, I can't remember. Actually has a pretty decent turnout, and they market their popular players so well in Valorant. Like the amount of views we get. So then when we go to the arena, we literally made a shirt that literally just says Love Oxy, and you just see the entire crowd has like a Love Oxy like jersey, and you have like other players from other teams come to watch us, and they will have that. It's like, what are we doing on League? It just feels like with League, there's just this acceptance that we're just playing now. We're not doing anything.
I don't know where we go. Like, you have to take chances. And it feels like we're consolidating and not taking chances because we're like everything's kind of like dying down around us.
Speaking of
And I just,
chances, you want to know what it was? It's not one of my biggest tweets that I've like, or most viral tweets that I've done, but it is one that got me attention from the most amount of like League of Legends like professionals, whether they're like staff, managers, whoever it is, was when I lost the bet to you last year and I had to dance. I did not expect that reaction. I posted it, I turned off my phone, I put my phone away. When I came back, there was a lot of traction. I did not expect that. When you were saying like if you were signed to 100 Thieves and someone was signed to Cloud9, you'd make their life a living hell. I think stuff like that would be really cool. Like every time 100 Thieves and Cloud9 play, for some reason, 100 Thieves always beat Cloud9, even when Cloud9 are like the better team. I think you could grow that into a rivalry for sure.
it's not even just about a rivalry either. Like, I don't want to like, I think the league and teams have a tendency to like try and force things way too much. You have to let them naturally happen. You're just not enabling people and things to naturally happen. Like, probably like I can't really think of like a good riot like outside of you and me and like my beef with C9. I can't really think of many other like creators and teams that have beef with each other, like natural organic beef. Like the FlyQuest TL stuff, I feel like is forced personally. Like they're just two
Yeah.
good teams that happen to play against each other at the peak all the time, at least as of the last year and a half. But like, do they actually? No, all of them are friends with each other. Like they all get along and are like fine. Like there's nobody that actually hates. Like I see a C9 fan at a bar, I'm chirping
Mhm.
immediately. And this has nothing to fucking do with them. This has to do with a guy that I hate that's not even part of your fucking org from 8 years ago, but I hold you responsible for that. You signed him back then. Doesn't
Mhm.
have to make sense to you. If you're a player focused fan, that ain't going to make any sense. And I get it. I don't care. Fuck you. Okay? It's on site. I chirp with C9 fans every time, but I'll still afterwards grab a beer with them and be cordial because I also
Mhm.
know I'm the only 100 Thieves fan in the building and I can't isolate myself that far. But like if I had a crew, we'd be sitting on opposite sides. All right? That's how it would work.
Hate watching is so fun. Like
Oh, it
I
is.
can't. I love it. Like
You know
I
my
genuinely will be watching like your guys' series, like smiling if Shopify are winning,
You
because I'm
mean
like, right,
when
I'm
we're
getting the
winning?
tweets ready.
dude, there's so many people with bookmarks saved on my tweets.
No, I have a
So many.
tweet saved for David. I am waiting. If you go out of playoffs, I'm saving it, and I'm gonna tell it to you already. You know when we beat you in COD, like all those years ago with like the Eggs roster. I just remember the cast of Vividly saying, "We'll see you fudging later." I'm waiting to say that because I will literally put David Sharnock. We'll see you fudging later.
Do you set yourself up at the end of your video today? Was it today? I think it was today when you were like, "I will go on a monumental breakdown if we lose to Shopify." Like,
Oh no, I'm crashing out.
As he should. As he should.
I'm finding something to snap in half and snapping it in half on camera. Like I promise you, it like if we lose to you guys this weekend, heads need to fucking roll. Like I'm pissed. We literally bow out of playoffs, and I got more views on a TikTok than we had attention all fucking year. Are you kidding me? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what happened to us? We were playing
That
Shaco
makes up be
vibe.
like,
I'm pre-crashing out. I'm already thinking about it fucking crashing out. Like, that's how bad it's gonna be. Like, I'm ready for if that shit happens, but it's not going to, because as I said, I feel very confident with this series.
yeah, but that's all like the level of fandom does, because if Shopify go out, I really could give two shits. Like, because whenever
We're the
Cloud is like,
underdog.
look, dude, but when you come at me or like in our podcast, or you will be overconfident, I'm like, eh, that I am buying that. But when David chirps, I'm like, this gets in my head.
Because it rolls deep. Like that to me is like when you know. Right?
Yeah.
Because like Paul and I are best of friends. All right. On Monday night, or Sunday night, I watched the Knicks game while playing Clash. All right. He was on my ass for not being dedicated enough to not worry about streaming. I was like, dude, I got social media that I have to worry about. I haven't streamed in a bit, been out of town doing this. Like, I gotta reestablish my presence in some capacity, social thing. He's like, you're a fake fan, shut the fuck up. And like, he's chirping at halftime. I immediately hit him back after we win. But like, it's funny, the whole drama with the Team Liquid thing. I had a bunch of people asking me like, you wouldn't be laughing if people were making 9/11 jokes against Americans. You don't want to see my DMs with Paul right now. You don't. It is a war zone worse than anything you could possibly ever imagine. All right. It is a level that like social media is not ready for in any way, shape, or form. It's bad. And people just don't get like you feel it. You know it when it's there. When you are more scared to lose, not out of embarrassment, but when you are more scared to lose just because that one fucking person that you know is going to be in your mentions that you don't want to see, like, that's when you know it's real. Because I know if we end up playing you guys,
I thought about this the other day. Like, you know when TSM was on its deathbed, and people were like, it's not even fun to chirp them, and I was like, fuck off. Because what if this was the other way around, and C9 was on its knees, they're about to go out of business, would TSM like put their arm around us? No, they'd be saying, "Have a nice death."
no, a real
No.
fan would be the one swinging the sword. You'd want to be the one that kills them yourself.
Yeah.
That's a real fan. We're talking Game of Thrones, Sean Bean. Like, you want to, like, you have your chance. They're like, oh, we didn't mean it. We're fine. Bring me his head. Straight down. Chop off. TSM gone forever at the hands of C9. Nothing would make a true C9 fan happier than that right there.
Mm-hmm.
You'd miss him. You'd miss the rivalry. But there'd be
As much
so
as
much pride in being the one to swing the sword.
I miss them, but I don't, because you do love seeing your rivals just being absolutely just put in the dirt. Don't come up. Like see you in the next live type deal. But I also kind of miss the league having viewership.
uh, it'll come back. We just gotta
There's no rivalry.
convince
There's
the
no
freaking.
teams. There's no like. That's why I loved when Blabber after the TLC was like, "Fuck TL." I was like, "All right." Like, I ain't seen that from you ever. Like, what's the beef with TL? No one ever picks up on that.
But that's why it's so hard for me to believe when he says that. That's like,
Yeah.
oh, great. You're just saying it in the moment. But like, you watched the COD major this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw the clip of Super, not Super, Super from the Miami
Yeah.
Heretics chirping 100 or the LA Thieves player to the point where the LA Thieves player literally goes up, grabs him by the shirt, and is like, "You don't fucking do that, brother. You don't you're like, watch your mouth." Then come Sunday, guess who they see again? They play each other in the losers bracket. LA Thieves comes up immediately after they win. They're over the shoulder of the dude that did that originally, letting them have it. Like, that's what I need. And more, by the way, quick comment on that. Where the fuck are his teammates? How are you sitting there letting your guy with 3 players from the opposing team be over his shoulder chirping, I'll eat the 10K fine. I'm swinging.
Dude, like when like their mentality should be I'm going to war for these other players, even if they're in the complete wrong. Like in soccer, even if this guy's broken this other guy's leg and like there's just fights, I'm swinging with them, even
Yeah.
though like there's a guy laying on the floor, broken leg. It's like it's my teammate's fault. But no, like in the moment, I ain't letting a teammate just be like picked on.
That pissed me off. I was so mad. I'm like, you are the worst fucking teammates that you just let him get berated by the other guys and you don't stand up and stand in the way and protect your boy. Nah, fam. That sits wrong with me. If anybody like that's the big thing for me with like the 100 Thieves players right now. Is like you have everybody calling Sniper overrated and
Dude,
annoying
can
as
I,
fuck.
dude? You know when they did the Loki segment on pros, where was our players all calling them out after that series?
Yes.
Because the second we won, I straight up put up the gif of everyone putting the thing to quit, and I said, which one of these teams you want to face in the lower bracket? If I was actually popular, that tweet would have popped off. Like
It's
that shit sticks with me, and it is pettiness, but it's also like that's what you love about sports.
it's the main reason why I still not hate, hate's a strong word. Why I don't want to ever see Fudge at an international event ever again.
Mm-hmm.
His words after you guys won 2022 spring,
We're the only hope.
I will never forget that. And I blame you guys. I blame Fudge a little bit, but I blame Cloud9 more than anything because you guys fed that fucking narrative for years. All right. People are like, oh, but we actually were. Shut the fuck up. All right. You guys claim that you're the only hope, and then you at the same worlds go 1-5 in group stage. Shit the bed. The only hope. Fuck out of
The,
here.
fu- the funny thing is, there was no fans to chirp back at him when we went 1-5, so it just went under the radar. It's just collective.
I got chirped more than they did. Because you'd see me walk, like Travis makes fun of me to this day for that. Because like every World's 2022 group stage, obviously in New York, I'm there every day. Did you guys get to go at all to
I
the
did.
group stage?
I went group stage
I didn't get to the
quarters.
worlds, no.
Did you? Okay, quarters was still in New York though. You remember? Did you know the press area was in like that back left side?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd walk from the press area in the back left down our little stairwell, down the main corridor, and you can see me going with my bright ass American flag, walking straight down to the front row because they had like a section like roped off for like team owners, personalities, like media could sit down there. So we had a seat to like do that and also like record footage of the crowd. For 9 straight fucking games, I do my little march down, be all hyped up. Yeah, let's go. Do my shameful little walk back up the steps as we lost every goddamn
I
game.
literally did that at MSI.
But you know what?
When we was in London, I had like a zipped up jacket. As soon as we played our Golden Guardian series, literally the jacket came off. I had like a hoodie, the jersey was on as well, and then just walked down to the front row and then just shit talking the players who then I actually had to interview afterwards, which is pretty funny.
That's a weird part of like us being in the media where we're at right now. That's a whole other can of worms. But like I'd do that again.
I said to myself, if I ever get to see them in person, I am being a fan over my job, everything. And that was my one opportunity to see them live. So I was like, fuck it.
I will
Because then the
say,
Golden Player was like, was that you in the front row? I was like, nope, weren't me.
in 2022, my biggest gripe was the fact that 100 Thieves lost to Flying Oysters. I was like, you are the one team that wasn't going to go 1-5. You were like
Yeah.
actually good. You could have taken the that was like
And we
the
nearly
worst
beat EDG
loss.
too.
I know that was
On Lucian Nami too. We would have ended the NA Lucian Nami conversation right there.
yeah.
That was my
But I do it all again. I do it all again in a fucking heartbeat.
Hey,
And it's
next
like,
year, man. Next year.
I can't wait to see what they do for Worlds. I like
They're gonna boot out the Brazilian team and they're gonna give you 3 NA teams again. That's what I think they'll do.
okay, so okay, Travis. Here's my question to both of you. I don't know what your time is like if I'm taking up too much because I know it's late for you.
No, I'm good
I'm
for now.
good.
I'm good
Yeah.
for now.
Perfect. All right, Travis has a video coming out. He said that I popped in his stream like after Hotline League one day and was just like chatting, making fun of him for some random thing. I don't know. Uh, he said he's got a video coming out that he wants to see the LCS brand come back. He is now on the train of wanting it to come back. I don't know when that video is going to come out. I don't know when it's going to be polished and finished. Do you guys think it comes back? And if so, in what
Yes.
capacity?
The same merger, just we'll have the LCS branding.
I can see that happening. I can see like the LTA is composed of the CBLOL and the LCS. I can see that happening. Do I think they're going to completely revert? It's Riot Games.
No,
They've
because then
done
you'll
it
just kill the wheel
once,
basically.
but I don't think they'll do it again. Yeah.
Here's my thing. The LCS branding coming back is the easiest softball in the world. Okay, you don't have to change a thing, and you can bring back the LCS and the CBLOL. That's no problem. And you can even still call like summer playoffs if you want, like the Americas bullshit, whatever you want to call it. Just instead of LTA North and LTA South, it's this. That rebrand failed. It's never gonna work. Can it? Go back. If you give the CBLOL branding back to them, consider that enough of a win that you then remove the stipulations around them getting a required team to international events. Put us in a winner take all scenario where we play for all of our international spots. And if we beat their ass, that's fine. They have pride, okay? They'll take pride in losing to us. We know that for a fact. But let them fight for it and earn it because it will actually mean more than stripping it away and like taking away all the identities of everything else. Like if you want to build a rivalry between the two, actually let us build a fucking rivalry and take out these goddamn protections.
So I was just thinking that I would allow them to have like a slot for like a first stand or MSI, but Worlds you fight for the biggest event of the year. Like if you
MSI, I
want to
would
have
argue, is in that category as well.
I was just more thinking like how would you soften the blow of like they're not going to Worlds?
You don't.
Because you're not saying that
yeah.
they're not going to Worlds. You're just saying that they have to fucking earn it. That's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go grab more real quick.
All right. I think it's kind of hard to tell the like. I think the fans, like the diehard fans, will be like, "Thank you." But I think the international audience, which is what Riot really is like trying to look at, like their explanation of why they gave CBLOL a guaranteed spot was the fact that they were like, they're not good enough to earn their spot. When they get good enough, we'll remove the protection. But as of right now, we want all of the regions, including CBLOL or LTA South, to have international representation. And like Brazil is a big market that they're trying to like tap into. And our commissioner, okay, maybe not commissioner, whoever's above Mark Z, right? It's Carlos. He's Brazilian. He comes from the CBLOL. If it's up to him, I'm sure he wants to see his teams. I'm sure the team owners are telling him when he's talking to them that we want a guaranteed spot. You've already taken away so much from us. You can't also take away international play.
What's the cost of having one extra team at an international event?
$0.
We're not talking like multiple different regions and like a complex problem here. We're talking the difference between 10 and 11 teams. That's it. And what you do with that, how you want to incorporate that, I understand that creates an odd number. Maybe you do like an international qualifier or something, which I get might feel
they have
bad, but
plans. They're doing that for Worlds. You know we have 17 teams going to Worlds, right? Just make it 18.
Yep. Yeah. Fatal three-way.
Exactly.
Like, I don't get why. I get it might feel bad, but like at the same time, like you got to pick your poison here. Do you want them there and allow them to compete in like just the as minimal way as possible? Or do you want true competition? Pick one. But the reality is like you did not have to strip away what we had for them because you have this artificial number in your fucking head of what you think it needs to be. Like that's the part that gets me on all this. People are like, "Oh, but we had to give up a slot." Did we? Did we?
No, not at all.
No.
It was
It's
complete
like
BS.
everybody else is already like I would get if we're sending no teams to sending one team, that's a pretty big incremental cost. Agreed. But the difference between going from 16 to 17 is a lot smaller.
And just do the same thing with VCS, like, or PCS. Wait, what are they called right now? Whatever.
LCP.
LCP. They have 2 seeds. Brazil had like make their second seed play against Brazil's first seed. Exactly what's happening with the 4 seeds between China and NA. Make it 18 teams, and the 4 seed of both Korea and China fight for one, and then the second seed and first seed of CBLOL and LCP play for another seed. Why does it have to be from NA when we're like the past 3 years we're the third best region? I guess we have the
I
lowest
agree.
viewership out of everyone, so
I mean that's the kicker is like we're getting penalized for our viewership
yeah,
is what's happening here.
we're in competitive
And
disadvantage for our viewership.
it's wild that that's the case, but it's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I get you care about the fucking views. I do. But if you cared about the views that much, if you're going to like don't lie to me, okay? If you actually gave a shit about the views, you know what you would do?
Hire someone who knows
You
what
would
they're
let the
doing.
CB LOL exist as its own fucking region. Okay? If you still want to have 5 regions, fine. You expand the LEC to 14 teams and you take 4 from America and send them over.
I mean, the TPA agreement was just up like this year. You could have done it.
Could have, but they fucking like
They're too proud.
I pride is your biggest killer. Always has been, always will be. If you do not have the humility to come out here and acknowledge that you've fucked up royally and that there's issues, you cannot work forward. Like you cannot fix your problems until you acknowledge that they are them and acknowledge the severity.
I think that's one of the
I
issues I
don't want to.
have
Sorry, go on.
is that they acknowledge they have problems, and then they just like rule out every solution that would require them to like lose face. And it's like, well, if your leg is broken and you consider putting a cast on losing face, guess what? Your leg is going to stay broken.
I haven't enjoyed, but I generally like more as a fan because I've had to dial back on like how much I can do this year. I've got to watch it more as a fan. This is the worst I've felt ever in terms
Really?
of like for a long time. Yeah, because I do not enjoy the closet experience. We are a majority in that like space. So you're spending all that money for players to not be able to interact with one another, to have crowd piped in, which is louder than when you have crowd there. It's like, at what point? Like, I don't even know if the LCS brand helps it. It'd
I,
probably just be like a feel good, like, we've got our brand back. We've got the, like, when the original song plays for the first time. But you get like little things. Like, do you remember? I don't know if it stopped when you started watching, David, but like before every stream, when they'd do the countdown, and you'd have the crowd like cheering the 10-9-8. Where's that gone? Like, it's just the little things.
yeah, that still happened. I mean, I'm big on music. I've been very clear on that in everything that I do. It's been so long since I heard "The Boy Who Shattered Time." It's a very specific song. If you look it up on, I know you're kind of confused right now, Claude. Like you're
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
put
I've
together in
heard
your
it.
head what.
I
Oh,
know
you know which
exactly
one?
what you're
Oh,
talking about. Yeah.
perfect. Never mind. I thought you were lost on it, dude. Every time that song hit between things, like it was a dopamine rush. Every time, and it's like everything feels so sterile now. that it like the countdown's missing. The songs feel corporate as hell. Like they used some rap song prior to your guys' series this past weekend that I'm just sitting there like, this did not hype me up in any way, shape, or form. Don't get me started on the trailer and the music they use for that goddamn thing. But like, it's lacking so much compared to what it used to have. All the personality has been sucked out
Go back to
entirely.
2016 and look at some of the videos that they made. Like, forget production quality. Just look at like artistic choices. Man, those things like I would get shivers,
And
man.
like, listen to like the champion select music for like LCS back in like those days,
2014,
2016,
yeah.
2018. And it's just the little things like for playoffs, they'd turn the overlay golden to represent its playoffs.
Yep. They only do that now for
Man.
summer. Some I know they still do that there. Like they changed like the branding on Twitter as well. So like it was LCS logo but gold, and now I'm not sure what they're gonna do this year with the North stuff. I don't know.
I thought they were gonna like really involve like the themes a little bit more. Like we had spring, like the spirit blossoms. I thought we were gonna hear a lot more like, that type of music, or we hear more like Noxus esque like freaking like Warhammer music. But no, it was just. I mean, they did something. I guess it's not nothing, but I thought the
Yeah, we have
cosplayers were really
owls
cool.
in the studio.
I mean,
We
I'll
have
be
all the
honest.
little flowers. Uh,
That new LTA or LCS like theme. That by the way, I don't get why we're using the same theme song if it's no longer the LCS, but that whatever. The downgrading from Nightmare to whatever like basic ass Apple Music commercial drum kit version that we did for this fucking intro now. Like the da na 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 na. It's like, what the fuck is this? This
Just give
isn't
us nothing.
iconic.
Just give us nothing instead, man.
Like, dude, don't even give us nothing. We had a great thing going with the Nightmare version.
Yeah.
Like, he's a mainstream DJ that we had affiliated with this.
And they
And
were
we
so
went to
proud of
some.
it too.
I know. And then we did this. I'm like, what? Like, how we. Oh. The
it's
league's
just the
lost it.
little touches. Like it's just the little touches as well. Like, do you remember we all like they used to have the banners to represent like the winners?
Yeah.
Like it's little things that no one probably gives a shit about. Like it really bugs me because I used to love seeing like look at all our championship banners.
Well, I think
They're
it's
still there.
LTA
The
now, so
problem
we don't
is
have
when
banners.
only 3 orgs that exist,
Yeah.
or 3 orgs that are still left exist, and the rest just don't. It's like, oh, it's a very sad reminder of the teams that used to be here.
And Valorant uses the space
Uh,
too, so it's like it doesn't even make sense.
yeah. I've never despised the game simply because it co-shares everything that Riot does, like with this league.
That's Riot's
That
fault.
Like,
that's why I
They
keep
make us
saying
hate
that
it.
teams have to be the ones to like grow their own fandom, because Riot is just has taken steps after step of like, we can clearly tell there are two forces working in Riot. And I confirmed this not too long ago, but there's like the force is like, hey, we know what needs to be done. We are not given the resources or permission to do it, but we will do everything in our power to like do it right. And then there's the other one was like, we're going to make these overarching decisions. And these decisions are going to screw you in the ass, and you're going to have to figure it out. And after a while, you just can't keep figuring things out when the decisions are just bad. And so the
I was
teams have to do it
told
themselves.
similar things, including going into next year. Apparently, content budget got slashed even further.
Even for dude, they cut them so much. How could you cut it more?
do
Wow.
any of you watch the lounge?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Oh, like the pregame stuff anymore? No,
Yeah,
I
no.
do.
And dude, that's the part that kills me. I
I used to love it. Used to be like in like 20 the prime was like the 2016 2017 where it looked like Temu version of ESPN, but I like that. So
same.
Emo version.
like you
It was.
literally got like a mini dive after every series where they actually went into analysis and it wasn't this goofy ass shit
Dash
where
was
and
awesome, man.
I don't I don't blame the people that are on there now, but you need a host.
Yeah.
You like it absolutely kills the vibe when you're having people that are just analysts have to.
And the thing is that I think they all like. Here's my problem, and I've been thinking this for a while because I used to when I would walk to our watch parties that we had here in New York. I mean, we had them all the way back in 2018 when I first started watching. So it's like this has been a through line of my entirety of League. I would always have on the broadcast listening to the pregame. Always. Like that 30 minutes leading up to it. I can remember portions of broadcasts were like from way back then. Now, I get that they're trying to do more skits and have more fun with it. And it's not like it's changed all that much in reality,
Yes.
but it feels like it. Like the actual tangible things that they're doing don't seem that different, but it feels
It feels the
so.
analysis feels more corporate. Like, do you? It may have been before your time, David, but there was like an unscripted part where Dash absolutely went off on Team Liquid, who at the time were like facing relegation.
2017, yeah.
And he just went berserk because this was meant to be like a top four, like top three organization. And they were at risk of leaving North America because they were going to get relegated. And he was like, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. Like, he was calling out Steve as well. And it's like,
Well,
we
okay,
don't get that unscripted feel anymore.
because where's our fucking personalities on broadcast like that?
Mhm.
TSM Jat was a thing for the long. Like I remember the psychologist sketch where they had like Jat talking to himself
Oh,
about like his TSM Jat tendencies, and they played well into that on broadcast. Like anytime something happened with TSM, it was like cut to Jat immediately because you know that he's gonna have some like he's a pseudo fan no matter what, and like you're tuning in for his reaction. It's like where is that? Like, where's that portion?
maybe
There is not a single person on broadcast right now that I get the sense that they care about an org in that capacity, other than just how they represent NA internationally, and that's it.
They're told not to. That's the thing. You're supposed to be neutral. You can't be so they took away so much from them. When you're saying like it hasn't changed much, it has. They went from being like, "Hey, we're going to analyze," to we're no longer the analyst desk. We are a lounge. We're here to hang out and chill. That was a direction they took that was like pushed
I'm not
down
on the
on
naming,
them.
by the way. That was me.
What?
That was my fault. They didn't have a name for it, and I suggested the LTA, the LCS lounge, and it caught on, and it
Oh
took over, and
god.
it worked, and that's the thing though, because aesthetically it does fit the lounge. So my bad on that. Sorry.
No, but even from higher up, like the way that it should feel, it went from like, hey, we have like these really cool skits. And even like there was a point 2023, 2022, end of 2022, beginning of 2023, where things were really being pushed. And if you remember, like Mark Z's like catching up with Double Lift, or like the Azael, like Dr. Azael, like diagnosing different teams and just being like, oh, you're dead, like chop off his leg. Or, like those were really funny skits. And there was one with Freak all the time where he would be like in the super fancy, like bougie, drinking wine, talking about teams, reading a book. Like they had more creative freedom. And it went from like, hey, we're not going to be doing things like these because people aren't watching the lounge because viewership is going down. Not to their fault. I thought they were doing great, but we are going to change it from like that kind of stuff to the more, okay, let's just do this or that. If you remember, this or that used to be a standalone video. It started becoming a content segment on the lounge to not even existing anymore. They started doing like these tier lists instead of getting Emily to break down more stuff. Emily, like they still do some breakdowns, but the amount of breakdown that has went like from 2016, we used to have High come on the desk and talk about like, okay, the reason they did this was because like I used to be in this situation. I'm pretty sure it looks like the support was the one that called it because when you look at how he's moving, or if you look at the pings, they used to analyze pings on the desk. They don't even look like we barely see that stuff. The most things we get one telestrator segment per broadcast. Like they have consistently went away from looking at professionalism and like being the ESPN to hey, we're gonna be more like TikTok friendly so we can post the stuff. I thought some of the stuff they do was hilarious, like the stuff with Sven when they had Sven like the they told him about the Discord poll of like the top 80 carries, and like they had freaking Stixay and FBI, and he was just like trying to cope. And somebody was like, "Nah, I'm just leaving. What the hell? How are all these people higher than me?" Like that was hilarious. But look at the resources that they have, that they're being taken away from them, and they're being told to be neutral. TSM Jat is not a thing for a reason. Well, TSM left, but still, like even before that.
Yeah. My question, I have two follow-ups on that. One is, even though I know they're pushing, like that might be a narrative direction from Riot's choice, and obviously not the individual casters, creators, etc. Don't you think they could be doing more outside of the broadcast to help push that?
Yes, and I've talked to a couple of them about it, and their thing is like, yeah, we should do more. Kind of like the pro players. We should do more. I'm gonna start
Where's
streaming this off
JLXP
season.
gone?
Where's JLXP? Where are Raz streams? Where's Raz TikTok? Like he used to make really funny TikToks. Some of them were like, I never followed him because like sometimes he does like some freaking unhinged stuff that I know people love and it goes viral. But like I'm just like I don't want to see that on my For You page. Please stop my eyes.
His video 2 days ago of him being on the toilet shitting, just singing.
I just
You know what? I'm glad died a swift death when they used to have the pros on the like on the actual casting the games.
I quite enjoy that.
I'm gonna
I
disagree
will tell
with
you
you.
why. Because it was always my series, and it was always why are we
Oh,
doing?
yeah.
Why am I hearing a pro player against when we're facing our rivals? So like C9TL, I don't want to hear a fucking pro player talk about our game. I want to hear the casters like really get into a big match, and I feel like the pro player would always take me out of it.
I think there were certain examples where I would disagree with that. That would be Sven and Blippo.
Yeah,
Blippo maybe a little bit less because he did talk a little too much at points. But I think Sven was a great example of like he is somebody that like has a future in broadcast when he wants to do so. And I loved him on every cast of any series, even if it was 100 Thieves. Like I wanted him there. It was just great to listen to. He speaks in a very good manner for broadcast.
you got like the duality of it when you'd get a pro player that really it did not want to fucking be there. And then you actually get like the Whippers or the Svens. Like I enjoyed Inspired as well. Like
Yeah,
I
he's
thought he
another
was
one.
quite like analytical about jungle. Uh,
The second thing I was going
that's
to ask though,
also. Oh, so go on, you gone.
well, so I mentioned about like the broadcast talent, etc. Do you think the solution to that, in addition to Riot changing like their stance underlying, is that the co-streamers need to be on the broadcast?
They tried to do that with Ludwig when he was there. I've given up on
No, no, no,
Riot.
no, 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 no. Dom.
You're not paying Dom enough. Like Dom, yeah.
Dom said he's willing to do it for pretty much free.
I would have him on the lounge. Yeah, I think the lounge. I would tune into the lounge to watch like Dom speak about our games or anyone else's.
If Dom is like, I
I-
will do this for pennies, and they're not doing it, then
He talked about it because this was a whole point of conversation with the Team Liquid 20v1 video and co-streaming and how Spawn believes that's not good for the ecosystem. And I agree with Spawn that I think co-streaming is actually bad for a product that is so small like this. We need to consolidate as many resources as we can to try and make all this shit work if possible. I think the best thing for the North American product for now, that's an easy fix, is get Dom on the broadcast. I don't think Meteos is like the best on broadcast personality personally. I wouldn't include him. But like if you had a segment where it's Dom, Double Lift, and LS, and then just like I prefer Dash as like the host because I don't think any of the current crop are like the best hosts necessarily. That's where like the value of like a lore and a shocks comes in. Somebody that can kind of just direct the chaos rather than wanting to get an opinion in on it. I think that'd be great because you not only have like you get that side of things of like Dash lashing out against Team Liquid. You know that Dom is going to absolutely freak the fuck out on some bad shit that's happening. But you also know that if Double Lift says something dumb on that panel, Dom's gonna call out double lift, and it becomes this
Dude,
inside the NBA Shaq versus Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson just serving as like this middle ground. Like that's what it becomes. That's
I'm
what you
s-
need.
I'm so glad that C9 finally is the defender. So like, LS constantly calls out this org, and
I
Dom
saw
made a
the
video
Dom's video. I saw it.
defending the org. Like, and he said I would do it. I would make a video of LS debating any time that he'd like place. Get it on the LTA should be like, right, fly these guys over, and we'll have this here. On the broadcast point, like Ja is the most underutilized talent on there.
Dude,
How have we gone? Maybe it's his choice, but how have we gone from he was cast in World Finals and they saw him as the face that he literally went on ESPN to defend League of Legends, and now he's been reduced to a part-time casting role and he's a lounger.
he wasn't even there for the first 2
That's
weeks to split, wasn't he?
But it's
Something like that.
criminal. Maybe it's his choice. Maybe he just wants to. Like he's done his thing. Let other people like do it. But
I don't think that's
man,
the case because
Me
I know
neither.
Shocks is not on the LEC and Riot broadcasts as much anymore as part by their choice.
mhm.
Which I know, I'm assuming, this is me trying to make some sort of analysis of the situation. Her rate's got to be pretty high at this point. Like she's earned enough in this career and hosts like Counter Strike majors and everything else that her price tag is now pretty high. So Riot can probably only afford a few like less days of her doing it unless she is specifically willing to take a cut rate to make sure that she's staying on the LEC broadcast, of which I don't know. But I see like her or she friended me on TikTok now. So like all her shit gets pushed into my algorithm all the time. So I see all of her videos and she's very open about talking about her relationship with Riot and everything else there. So if she is already getting like not forced out, but like if she's getting reduced days, not by her call, it's definitely not Chat's call of why he would be getting reduced days there.
Like I know. I think Dash doesn't. I think he has his own thing like going on now, so he probably won't ever come back. But you need a notable figure that can come in and do that full time hosting role. And then I would also get Jat back on the dive and replace him, Migos.
Oh yes, please get Jack back, Jet back on the dive ASAP. I miss it.
And then they need to also cut the what's the word I'm looking for? It's just very corporate, like the dive now. Like the way it's set up, it doesn't feel like even in their analysis, it's very kind of like the lounge in some ways. They're not really
I
digging in as deep.
I disagree with the corporate part of it. I think it's just because they don't have chemistry. I think the chemistry
Maybe
between the three of them is just off. And
yeah.
it feels very disconnected and like they lack this ability to flow between casual conversation and serious conversation very well. It feels very much like one person's going to talk, the next person's going to talk, the next person's going to talk. Do I circle back around? Maybe not. Whenever Jat was there and like the heyday of like 2018, him picking a CLG to be like his number one power ranked team. Whenever you had the best in the West and everybody else, but he really liked CLG's roster, they would ebb and flow so easy. And it made it such a good listen.
I think one of the things that the dive used to have was always has like a person that could cause like debate or cause more like discord amongst them. It used to be Jet. It used to be Freak. I think with Meteos, like he's not the one that's going around and being like, "What are you talking about? I disagree." It's like it's kind of like what you're saying. Each person's taking their turn talking. I don't mind it, to be honest. I know like you very much dislike Meteos, Marn, but I don't mind it. But it does lack that like sense of like, okay, I know that some sort of disagreement is going to come up because Freak is like the way he thinks about 5 movement speed on Aurelia is very different than how Azale or how
I
Kobe thinks about it.
I don't like Meteors because not okay. That's like a strong phrase, but I feel like we can't get strong C9 analysis because we have just a C9 paid by Jack guy on there. So like, I don't want to hear like C9 could be like ninth. Oh, I think C9's gonna 3-0 FlyQuest. It's like I don't want to hear that. Like I want to hear like genuine. Why do you believe our team is better than?
And the thing is,
Because it
like, you
always
could
like
be,
sways. It always sways the predictions as well because you immediately have like right C9's already locked in one.
and like, you can have somebody that's paid for by an org, fine, but like,
Yeah.
they have to know how to manage that relationship. And I don't feel like Meteos does that well. I think he takes that cop out answer of like, paid for by C9, they're my home, whatever. Like, it lacks that same, like, if they're your team, and I see this with who's the it's the CBS Premier League folks. Uh I cannot remember their names, but like, they all have teams that they were affiliated with or like diehard support.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
And
about.
you
Yeah.
can tell when it comes to their time to talk about their team, they roast them harder than the
Mhm.
other analysts do. And Meteos has this weird like point of it where it's like, yeah, we're not playing well, and just kind of like writes
But
off.
this
It's
is where
like,
the
no,
corporate
like
thing I feel
like if
comes
you're the
in because
C9
on
rep, we
the
want to see you be the voice of all the problems. Like, really lash it out, brother.
this is where I feel like it's kind of PR though because on his co-streams he's roasting us. So why aren't you doing that on the dive? Like that's where I feel like that's why I get such a disconnect with the dive because it doesn't feel real. Like it doesn't feel like what we're doing now. The dive used to feel like this, where you were just speaking how you felt about each of these teams, these players. But now you feel like you have to really be careful with what you say.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just want this or that back. I thought it was so much fun. It was one of my favorite. I look forward to it. I think it was every Thursday, and they got rid of it. They didn't replace it with anything, and they were like, "It's on hiatus." I'm like, "Yeah, it's been on hiatus for 2 years now, my friend."
I want fucking the around the horn knockoff that we had back. I need that back, especially with around the horn like being done now and like it's off ESPN and no longer a show. It's
Let's
time.
do it.
It's
Yeah,
not. How about we make it our thing? It's not like anybody else is copying.
and like they're not against copying, like catching up with double lift. Like they're not against copying. They're just against doing things. It's been a thing. They try to do the
But
very bare minimum.
we went hard from going hard on the teams to going hard on the players to going hard on the league. We did the full transition, all to the fans in between too. We went
We
hard on
did.
everybody.
I will say,
We did
Sniper
the
is
full
streaming.
league gambit.
I guess where
Sniper
the
started his
closing
stream.
topic, kind of to go back to our orgs. Are you satisfied with how your org is in general, like as an esport, not in terms of like,
Oh,
strictly LTA?
yeah. In general, yeah, I'm satisfied with where it's at because I think we are in the unique position where we still have something kind of going for us outside of like this whole league thing. Like, the creators that 100 Thieves has are pretty good. This new creator class that they got in is great across various different games. Like, they have a great connection in Valorant. Uh, I think the merch, there's something to be said about like the merch line with the Foundations line kind of ruining the exclusivity of 100 Thieves apparel, which definitely hurt the drops because they don't sell out instantly anymore like they used to way back when, where you were fighting to get a long sleeve shirt. But in the modern scape of where esports is, I'm overall happy with where 100 Thieves is at because I think all the venture capital money left for the most part. So there's no
Mhm.
longer these massive obligations to, try and make a game to make $50 million of revenue to pay back our investors in 5 years. Like, that pressure's off, it feels like. And I know they needed the cash out from the LTA slot to help fund things. To my understanding, it seems like things are in a pretty decent spot right now. I don't know how true that is. I obviously don't have access to the financials, and even if I did, I'm sure I would get a cease and desist for even trying to mention anything on that front. This isn't a Sheep Esports article where we can misname revenue and expense, but I'm overall happy with where we are at as an org in terms of a stepping point. If we can do the things that we need to do to grow from here, I'll be happy. If it stays in the stagnant spot where it's at right now forever, that's when I have a problem. But as of right now in 2025 on May 28th, I'm content with where things are.
What about you, Marn?
I'm unsure, and this isn't even like directly linked to like the LTA, but if like so in 2023, Jack put out like a Reddit comment that said like the financials are good and like he's gonna manage costs because like they're losing sponsors left, right, and center. And how I read that is we are significantly cutting back. Our rosters are going to get significantly worse. And you look in 2025, okay, you have like we have a pretty good LTA team, but you're re-signing older players that are probably not like you don't. I don't know how much Sven cost, but I assume it's not going to be a lot compared to what we bought him for initially, like when we was on the TSM. So you're basically you are re-signing these old players like Sven, Vulcan, and you're pairing them with younger players. I think that model is good. I think like you've seen it with Fly, TL 100 Thieves. You all put these mechanically cracked like kids under like with veterans. But I feel our roster construction across the entire board is borderline shocking compared to like what we are. Because this feels like a rebuilding year with while being told we're fighting for championships, and at that point you're lying to me with like the roster we put in Call of Duty. Like I don't expect us to like Nature fucking sold Narm just to get that roster. But and that's the thing, we had that roster like pretty much locked until we didn't. Like it was always going to be like shaky with verbals, and I don't blame Jack for not basically bankrupting the org to get that roster, even if they are winning every. I don't think winning that hard in COD would serve the finances well. But if you just look at our roster construction across the board, it's consistently you're getting towards that mid stage. And like you look at, it's concerning that every single basically team we have is a franchise team where you're getting stipends from the leagues. So you basically, it feels like we're just turning over, doing enough to stay alive, and this is how we're like weathering this like esports winter, which I don't have a problem with. I just don't like to be told we're fighting for championships, and it's like you're not. Like it'd be like I don't mean to diss Shopify, but it'd be like if you told me this Shopify roster, you're telling me that they're competing for championships with this roster. Maybe in the future they will, because I think they will spend. But it'd be like you're lying to me, saying me like this roster's here to win right now.
I mean, we wanted
'Cause
JoJo,
I
but they did want to win, right? But
But
I'm
so
just
basically,
like
you want what
front.
100 Thieves messaging was last year. Like they
Like
said from the jump,
if we're
like
gonna
give us
hunker
until
down,
summer, and we'll hopefully. And our goal is to try and make worlds, but you got
and
to
it
give
is.
us till summer.
And like I feel like we have improved in terms of content, even if it's not the best. I feel like around the org there is more positive. It's just now you're linking it back to on the field decisions. The CS stuff was an absolute. We could have had a dynasty CS team that we're making millions off that team, but we held out on G2 selling us Monacy. I don't know if you guys know who Monacy is. Like we were waiting and waiting, and like you had his girlfriend saying, he wants to join C9, but G2 won't let him." And we waited and waited and waited for that while not having like a sniper in place to help us win now. And then we never won, and then that team collapsed, and then we had to sell the roster, and the Valorant decisions.
so I'm hearing you're not very happy with
Like
C9.
um, It
But like,
depends
okay,
'cause
outside of performance though, because performance isn't everything. Like results are important, obviously. I'm not denying that. It's like we're all esports sports fans, but like state of your org beyond that, are you happy with it?
I feel we've been in worse days. I feel like that 2023-2024 period was like it felt like really rough. Like I thought in 2023 when we was losing like Puma, Red Bull, BMW, I thought okay, we could go under here. Like the fact that we had to, whether people believe we had to sell our Valorant roster because we couldn't afford it, or like they're problematic. I don't have the information on that, but it felt like we were in darker times, and we're now slowly building back up. The problem is they invested so hard in the Esports World Cup, and none of the teams can fucking qualify because they're shit. Like,
Well,
is pretty like funny to me as well.
so do you know the context behind Esports World Cup?
In terms
Basically,
of the like the teams get like
yeah, the teams were given money that they
yeah,
had to spend on other teams.
which is hilarious because all of our teams that we bought for for that didn't qualify, so then we've sold them all off. And now, if you notice this year, we aren't doing what I think 100 Thieves and Fnatic are doing this year, where they're spending that money. So like 100 Thieves is all like, has a TFT team. It's like okay, that ain't lasting. That's gonna go like
Yeah.
maybe it does popular, but it's a lot of these
I
teams that you sell off very
I'm under
quickly.
the opinion that anything that Esports World Cup touches is a temporary fad and you should not get used to it.
Yeah.
Because all that's doing is plugging a hole temporarily that will eventually be pulled out. So
That
like
is why the fan base is so upset with C9 because we had an Apex roster that we re-signed our old team, and they're one of the best teams in the world, and they're making every single LAN, and then they got rid of them, and the fans are like, "Fuck you! You don't care about winning because that team was winning,
no.
like to a degree. Like it's hard with Apex, it's only one winner, but you know what I mean." So I think it's like the standards because maybe we're just as C9 fans, like we're entitled, we feel like spoiled,
You are.
but I've grown up on making lands every single year, regardless of what esport you're in. That's the standard you set for me. And now we're not even aggressively going after like smart moves. So let's say our LTA team bombed out again this year. Where is the like I don't believe there would be an aggressiveness to go and get like the next big NA players, or like what veterans are you supplementing these newer young players you're going to buy in? Because I feel like there has been certain like we hold on to failing projects for too long. Like, I thought we held on for Fudge for too long. I thought it was a little bit too late. Like, I thought after 2023, you just cut your ties, good servant, you move on to the next thing. Before you let the fan base absolutely despise that guy for no reason. It's happened with a Valorant player as well, with Zeppa.
Yep.
Like, he's now lived too long that the fan base just get him out. So 2026 is a big year for like, is your ambition going to match what you're saying? Or are we going to have another year of, okay, we get rid of all these mediocre players, but then we just sign like mediocre players again?
If it's any solace, at least take pride in the fact that you know that you'll have a team in 2026 for what it's worth.
Yeah, I can't imagine what you're going through. I'm not gonna lie, like, that'd be brutal.
I do a very good job of bottling up emotion when I need to. I
Mhm.
know that may not seem like it because I lash out and I'm like very like emotional and like over the top with things here. But when it comes to that stuff, I have done a very good job of suppressing it so far down, which is going to have bad repercussions. It's the same reason why, like, whenever the announcement came, I lashed out so heavily to the point where I'm getting DMs from 100 Thieves staff being like, bro, you're going a little far. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just straight up telling them, I don't give a fuck. Like, it will have bad repercussions, but for now, I'm bottling it up.
Yeah. What about you, Cloud?
Yeah, Mr. Hot Seat.
Yeah, I'm not very happy with the main thing. I'm quite disappointed with Shopify is how slow we are. It's like we signed Retro last year, 2 days before the split starts. Why? Why did we wait that long? We spent a whole year opening up the office that we have right now in LA, right? And we signed Simu Liu, did nothing with him. We signed Moist and Charlie, did very little with him. Now I know there was like one extra event planned, but like even then, one event in the entire year is like not enough. I feel like recently with what Retro has been like pushing and doing, like shorts for example, like last year I was telling him about this and how like instead of doing long form, maybe he should focus more on short form to get us like into the door instead of like because he was a one-man army, right? He was spending 4 days a week basically recording and the other 3 days editing their vlog or the video. Like he had very little time to do things. Now obviously there's more people, so he can do more stuff. But we finally have been consistently posting content every single day, whether it's a YouTube video, a short, or on Twitter. I don't think you should count the Twitter personally, but I know that their metric is we're going to post something every single day, whether it's a short or long form, and they count X as a platform. I think they should have started that from last year. I think that they should start using their creators more. I'm very disappointed with the way they use their creators. Like, we have Lena Lemons. She's interested in Valorant. She's interested in League of Legends. She's interested in anime. We do so little. She is there almost every single like tailgate event because she lives in LA. And she's posting pictures of like going there and taking pictures with cosplayers and being there. And there's never anything like they're not doing anything with her. Not even League, just like no games. Then why do you sign her? You don't have a merch drop with her. You're not doing anything with her. Like, why is she signed? I don't understand. Same thing with
Are
all
they
the
hoping
other.
that she's gonna do it?
I don't know. I don't know. I the people that I've talked to don't necessarily work with like those. There's like 3 or 4 really big creators that we have, and like the people that take care of those contracts and talk to them are like different than the people that I tend to talk to on SR. So I don't know why we can't utilize her in any way, shape, or form when she on her own is like going into these events. She could just be in the table for like 15 minutes, and I feel like that's something. That's more than zero, you know? Yeah, I just feel like the if we're going towards, hey, we're using content creators to build the brand of Shopify, which is what I assumed we were trying to do with like, hey, we're the Toronto Shopify like esports center, and we're signing, Toronto-based Simu Liu, and we have like a bunch of Canadian like streamers, and we're gonna do stuff, and like they really don't. So I'm quite disappointed with the way that they're treating content. The one thing I am happy about is like the shift of mentality from last year to this year, where last year it was like we're going to throw stuff on the wall and see, and we signed 5 players and a coach to a 1 year like contract. And this year you can tell like everybody signed to at least 2 years. The reason actually we didn't re-sign Boogie was that he had to go to military not this year but next year. And it was like, well, that's not 2 years, so we're not gonna sign you. Which like you can agree or disagree. I think contracts is like
I was
an
saying
upgrade.
contracts is a dub. Like,
But either way, like they clearly wanted to put things into place so that they can grow. I think going slowly with your teams makes sense, but with your content, I don't think that makes sense. So this year, the way that they set it up, I'm happier about the fact that. And hey, maybe at the end of the year, you're like, Palafox is clearly a sore point. There's a mid laner that we can change him. All of a sudden, you have like a top 3 team, right? I think that's realistic to happen. I'm not too worried. Like in terms of league team, I'm satisfied that we're improving. That's one thing I was calling out last year. Whereas like last year, there was a point in time where we were doing nothing every single game, and it was like, why do I want to watch this team? And I was really pissed at them. And I talked to Revan and I was like, dude, what the hell? And he was explaining to me. And I was like, but that doesn't matter. Like, at some point, you can't do well in scrims and then do nothing on stage. Like, just int. Just actually go there and, like, go 0 and 17, but do something. Don't lose a game, be down 4K gold 0-0. Like, it's not gameplay at that point. And I mean, they worked on it. This year, you can tell that they're improving. So in terms of the teams, I know our Valorant our challengers team like are incredible. I watch them play. They're I mean they won everything. They're like the T1 of Valorant. So I think team wise, I'm pretty satisfied. I don't really watch our Rocket League or Dota teams, but in terms of like the slowness of getting things set up and actually like utilizing the content creators and the content teams and stuff. It's just we're so slow. We've been in the league for 2 years and people still think that like people still can't remember our name. It's just it's actually ridiculous. You sign Ludwig and Charlie and people are just like, "Oh, what's that other team? Dig and Disguised and Shopify," instead of like, "Oh yeah, it's Cloud9, Shopify, 100 Thieves and Team Liquid." Like I don't know. I've talked to them about it too, but that's the way they want to do it. That's the Shopify way, I guess.
Funny. I don't I don't know if orgs would ever take a chance on all three of us, but it could be interesting looking back in time at like you have the you have potential faces of Shopify content, 100 Thieves content, and C9 here if they wanted to take a chance.
I'm
I don't know about
I'm
100
too
Thieves,
critical.
but I do think at some point I will. I think I have friendly enough relationships with people at Shopify, and I think they know I genuinely care, and they go out of their way to like do things and like involve me. That I feel like it could be possible if I really focused on it and wasn't working 2 jobs. But I don't know about 100 Thieves just because like are they gonna be there? Are they not? I think you can do it because of your TikTok. I know 100 Thieves like
I
only sign like the cream of the crop, like you got a million followers, but I think just because of your TikTok, I genuinely think you can do it.
I mean, here's my logic for them and my pitch. Because like when thinking about this from our front as creators, we have to think about what we can offer them. Like, how do we help them grow? Otherwise, like them just giving us a title means fucking nothing. Like if we join the org and we do nothing with it, it's a pointless signing. My thought is this. Rendezvous immediately moves to the 100 Thieves channel. Like immediately. That is a series for them in the same way that Run It Down was for Yasuo. Like that becomes the through line there. And I bake in an interview with a player each and every week into that, whether that's like over Discord call, whatever it might be, whatever. Uh, Obviously, there are things well beyond just League of Legends and gaming that I can help 100 Thieves do, especially like golf content I'm looking at. But then short form content, uh, let me run the 100 Thieves League of Legends account entirely on TikTok. Let me take sole responsibility for that. I'll promise you one video a day. Because right now, I don't know if I told you guys, I'm uploading 4 videos a day right now on TikTok.
Yeah.
Uh, two on my main, two on life. Yeah, I definitely did say that. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up on shit. Uh, I don't think I could do more than 5. Like that's getting too much unless you're paying me. Which ideally, if I'm joining the org, I would get the chance to quit my part-time job. So I would need at least like money wise, if I'm doing all this work and all this, I'm saying 1,500 a month. And I think I'm driving enough value for you that that's worth it.
What would you do with the shorts like that once a day shorts? Just out of curiosity.
Sunday would immediately be gameplay. That'd be my first thing there. Monday would be interview with some player, kind of like caption, kind of like reviewing what was. Tuesday would be I haven't fully thought this through. I'm not sure on Tuesday. Tuesday's kind of like that. Tuesday's the day where like general league news typically comes out. So I think Tuesday we make it about like just general gaming, like whether that's like something from myself, like talking with other 100 Thieves creators, and like quizzing them on like general league stuff and just like trying to get like general 100 like Tuesday, Thursday would be my days where like I focus on like greater pop culture and making like 100 Thieves League blend in with greater pop culture. Wednesday is when the rendezvous would come out each week, as well as like a quick, like condensed 1 minute version of here's everything you need to know about 100 Thieves from this past weekend and what you need to know going forward, including like who we're playing. Friday would be a preview of who we're playing, like some key things to watch out for the upcoming series, whether it's with a player, whether it's myself, like, or somebody within the staff, like talking about that. Saturday is like an edit. I want an edit every single Saturday, hyping up our player going into the series and the matchup. And then Sunday again, gameplay clip, and then you go from there. And like that's the cycle, and we get people used to that every week, over and over again. And that translates over to YouTube Shorts as well. We have the rendezvous on there. If I'm with them, I can obviously do co-streams as well. And we combine voice comms with the co-streams if possible. If the voice comms can't come out until Wednesday, then we work the voice comms into the rendezvous rather than having it be a standalone video, because those just don't do well on their own anymore. Like we can take specific portions of that, highlight it, and show people why that's important and kind of break it down and like explain the game a little bit more to them. And then for the third video for Friday, I don't know. I'd like a 100 Thieves podcast with the players, but that's just, I know they're not on camera personalities. So that's a whole other different can of worms. But that's my
Friday was
short
kind of
form.
late for a
Some will
podcast
bleed.
too.
It is and it isn't. Because I think like in traditional sports, one of the things that we're used to is like that 30 game pregame segment that we were used to in league. College football, college game day lasts 3 hours, my friend. Like we as sports fans are fiending for preview content for the upcoming week when it's actually good, as well as just like general like how pop culture relates, et cetera, stuff like that, especially if you're not getting enough of it during the week, because there are going to be people that tune out during the week and come back on the weekends ready for this type of thing.
Fair enough. My amateur team just all came into chat to tell me that they're scrimming right now without me. And
Nice.
apparently they shat on them so hard that they refused to play games 2 and 3, and they all just came in just to tell me that I was the problem.
Been there. Know that feeling well.
You're,
Congrats.
you're the umpty
You
in this
officially made
scenario.
it.
I'm the umpty in this scenario.
Guess who just tweeted out that he's streaming?
Sniper streaming.
Sniper is streaming right
Yeah,
now.
Sniper, Blabber, Vulcan, like it's a good day.
Blabber streaming?
Yeah, Blabber's streaming. He just went
Frank
live
on
like a few minutes
grind.
ago. All right, I appreciate the state of the league episode that we did, state of the content. I think there's a lot to think about. No more Briar, no. I think you specifically about like what you would do at the very end. I always appreciate. I always take parts of it and go to Shopify and be like, "What about this?" Be like, "Oh, we can try that or not." So I am, you are feeding the enemy with some ideas, but yeah, always happy to have you on with us.
How about the enemy gives one back? Okay. How about you and me make a bet for this upcoming weekend?
All right, what is it? Let me hear it.
What do you say was your most viewed tweet?
It's not
last
my
time
most
it happened?
viewed. It just a bunch of
It's up
people
there,
from
right?
org saw that. Yeah.
Well, guess what? I got a bunch of shit for saying that I love the new MGK song. And guess what? There's a dance with it, brother. So guess what?
Send me the
How about
link.
we
I gotta
do
see
this?
it first.
Cliche MGK. That's all you gotta type in. You'll find it. Loser of us does the dance wearing either the other team's jersey or at least like a taped on version of that thing. Because I have a Shopify jersey, so I can do the dance wearing it with like holding up an L on my forehead or some shit like that.
Let me watch that, and then I'll get back to you.
He has a TikTok specifically with that dance isolated. So I will share that to you right now. And you can make that call. It's not okay. I say it's not that complicated. I've seen your footwork. It might be a little bit tough for you, but That's part of the fun and the allure.
I agree. Um, I will get back to you later tonight. I do need to head out, but I am down for a bet.
You let me know. I've put the public terms out there on
All
my
right,
side.
sounds good. Martin, any last words? You want to do a bet between FlyQuest? Oh wait, they don't have anyone. Never
I
mind.
ain't betting shit, brother. That burned me the last time when I said we're gonna 2-0 fly quest and then we barely got 2 kills, let alone 2 wins.
Yeah, that was rough. Are you doing the crossover podcast?
Yep.
All
Beginning
right.
in 13 minutes.
Well, everybody should go watch David's stream. The crossover is going to be interesting this week. I have a feeling.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Good
One
luck.
day we got a crossover report.
The
Like the
crossover report.
dive Warrior.
You know what? We do need to plan that and organize. It's tough with Paul because he's rarely available early now that he has a daughter. But
Yeah.
one of these days we should plan like a weekend day or something where we record it for like an international event.
You'll have 2 Knicks fans in there, unlucky for him.
Oh, you're a Knicks fan?
Okay, I say I'm a Knicks fan. I used to watch it quite a lot in like my teen years. Because like, when I went to Orlando, there was an NBA. Like, that was like I was 5 years old, but the game that was on was a Knicks game. And they're playing Magic, but Knicks was stomping the shit out of them. So I was like, all right, that's the basketball team I like. Because I wanted to. Because at Universal, I wanted to get a basketball like top. So I was like, all right, that team that won, I'm gonna go get the jersey, and it was the Knicks, and that's just stuck with me.
Respect.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Make sure to watch, the crossover.